and welcome to round 4 of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. Maitland, New South Wales plays host for us this weekend, where the Maitland District Motorcycle Club is one of the oldest motorcycle clubs in Australia. Operating since the 1920s, it's seen many champions lined up behind these gates. I'm Rihanna Korean, and as always, I'm joined by the 11 times national motocross champion, Lee Hogan, and also a very warm welcome to our New Zealand viewers for the very first time. Lee, it's been a bit of a time since we were last racing, last time out at Canberra, but what a weekend we had there.
We sure did. Well, isn't it sensational to be here? You know, is it on, isn't it on? It's just so good to be at the track. Fantastic venue here. It's like an amphitheatre here and amongst all the trees. It's exciting stuff.
Canberra, it was all about Regan Duffy, Luke Clout, Kyle Webster. What were your takeouts from that weekend?
Oh, there were so many highlights, but if I had to pick two, I really liked the Kirk Gibbs bump on Luke Clout at the end. On a day where he was on fire, to do that, it just showed that anyone that want to get in there, stamp the authority and try to get into the mix. That's my number one. My next one would be Regan Duffy, the kid, the 17-year-old, the protege. He's the real deal. He really is, and it's a very exciting time for Australian motocross.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much looking forward to seeing what he can do here this weekend. Let's take a look at the championship points for the Thor MX1 as we head into round 4. And it is Regan Duffy sitting at the top of the championship on 85 points. Todd Waters on 78. Hayden Melross and Luke Clout, the two Yamaha boys. Luke's looking to make up some time here this weekend. Kirk Gibbs on 70 points. Brett Metcalf, Jaden Rikers, unfortunately not here this weekend. Jai Walker, Maximum Purvis, and Jay Lamb rounding out the top 10. Lee, what can we be looking forward to and look out for here at Maitland?
Okay, well, we've got a track that is kind of similar to Canberra, so expect to see more of Luke Clout. However, Duffy's got a very good points lead, so it's management for him. The Kyle Webster train will highly likely roll on. I don't want to put the moz on him, shall we say, but when you're in that headspace, it's highly likely going to keep going, and really looking forward to seeing the battles erupting in that MX3 class. It's been superb.
Well, let's take a look at the track they'll be racing on this weekend. A man who knows this track like the back of his hand, our very own Danny Ham.
As we jump right into the Michelin track preview this week at Maitland, the riders are going to be presented with some new challenges. The first of that being right here on the start line. Now, we're used to the guys getting out on the dirt, plenty of grip. We'll see the bikes wheelie all the time coming out the start gate, but right here, it's the first of two tracks we see this year that we have an actual concrete start. Now, it's not just the one piece of the concrete. We've got two different elements to this. The back wheel actually sits on this very smooth part of the concrete, which will enable a lot more wheel spin before they get moving into a much grippier, coarser part of the concrete right here, where it will give them a little bit more traction. Not a heap, they still have to be very gentle on that clutch and throttle to ensure that they get off the gate with plenty of drive. It doesn't end there though. As soon as they get off the concrete, they move on to this part here where it actually steps down onto the dirt. Now, you're going to get a lot more drive once they hit the dirt, but they'll also get that front wheel in the air, so something they have to keep in mind when they get off the start. The third part of that is actually the start straight. Really important that we get a good qualifying session here. If you get a bad time, you're going to be stuck right onto the outside of this start gate. Now, I've stepped it out and calculated. It's another 15 metres to travel to get to the first turn. So the guy that gets on the outside is going to have a massive disadvantage. And it really shows the importance of making sure you get yourself a good qualifying time. If you're stuck on the outside, it's very likely you're going to have a bad day on the start gate. Over to you, Lee.
Well, thanks, Hammy. Okay, as you can see, we're on the opposite part of the track here at the AMX Superstores sand section, which essentially encapsulates this short straight and into this high-speed right-hand turn here. Now, at the moment, it's very smooth, no bumps at all. But let me tell you, this is going to get rough, it's going to get whooped out, and it's going to provide plenty of passing opportunities. Now, it's going to provide a few curveballs as well for not only the riders, but the teams. They've got to think about tyre selection, they've got to think about suspension setup. But let's talk about those riders. Both riders carrying the red plate, Regan Duffy in the MX1, Kyle Webster in the MX2. They're both sand gropers. They love this stuff. Watch this space, trust me. All right, back to you, Hammy.
Thanks, Lee. Well, the final part of this weekend is simply the ground surface as well. We've seen a few different areas already. We've got the hard pack area over there, the start's rock hard. We've got the sand down the back, and the rest of the track is ripped deep. Right here, you can see it. Massive holes, big chunks of dirt that are going to develop into all of these huge ruts around the track. Now, if you are unable to ride ruts, you're going to have a bad day, I can promise you. This here is going to be a big key about getting around and getting good position in the races for the day. And that there is our Michelin track preview for Maitland.
Thanks, Danny and Lee. 8 weeks is a very long time between races, and I know the riders are going to be itching to get themselves onto this track. And we have been greeted with absolutely sensational weather here in Maitland. Beautiful, clear, sunny skies and a top of 17 degrees. Perfect racing conditions. Let's take a look at what's coming up ahead of today's show. Kicking us off, we have the Maxxis MX3 Moto 2. That's a 20-minute moto. The Pirelli MX2 Moto 2. That's a 25-minute moto. And, of course, the Thor MX1 Moto 2, and that is a back-to-back moto, 13 minutes each half. Very much looking forward to that. Plenty of action, and it's all going to kick off when the gates drop on the other side of this break.
Well, it's go time here for the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. We have had a sensational start to the day. It's round 4 at Maitland, New South Wales. Danny Ham, let's take a look at the highlights for race 1 of the Maxxis Tyres MX3 class.
Well, started straight off the start line there. You have to make sure you get a good start on this concrete, but there was plenty of drama all the way through this field. One of our riders almost
Flynn,
getting taken out,
going down.
and then also one of our favourites, Riot,
Ryder Kingsford.
Kingsford just losing the back wheel on the up ramp of this jump. Very slippery coming out there. They move from a soft soil into a very hard pack. And we're seeing a lot of this today that the back ends are stepping out. But this guy here, Blake Fox, absolutely dominant in this race. Really looked in control right from the start. He did have to make a pass, but he then stamped his authority on the race.
It's our championship points leader. As we see here, Ryder Kingsford making a pass on Campbell Williams there. So Ryder managed to make his way up after that crash. Very impressive ride here, though, by New South Welshman Connor Towell, who managed to get a great start. He got the whole shot. He managed to hold on to a top 2 position. But at the end of the day, it was all about gas factory rider Blake Fox. He's got himself a 12-point lead in the championship, and he's extended it a little bit after this first moto. Solid victory for Blake Fox as he took the checkered flag, followed by Connor Towell, and it would be Ryder Kingsford that would hold on for the top 3 position there. So a fantastic job.
Great way to start our day of racing here at Maitland. And what a day it's been already. The lead up to this one, we had heaps of rain forecast. The weather is fantastic. Let's head down to Rihanna for a quick update.
Yeah, once again, we've got Blake Fox and Connor Towell starting from this same position that they started from earlier today. These are the only 2 positions that the whole shots have come from today. So I think looking at those 2 to grab that whole shot position, Blake Fox had a 20-second lead in that earlier moto. See if he can go out in front and stay nice and consistent and get the job done once again.
Well, you called it, Rihanna. It's all about the concrete start here on a track that is so critical to get a good jump out of the gate. Being concrete, a lot of people don't have the techniques. A little bit of a bonus there for the Victorians who have so many concrete gates. Let's have a look here at the Maxxis Tyres lineup, the MX3 category Moto 2. Blake Fox, Connor Towell, Ryder Kingsford, Connor Rosadic. We've got Benny Novak, Hunter Collins and Jack Mather.
Tykean, Alexander, Fairbrother, Orlando. There's all plenty of riders that are very, very quick indeed that can jump out to an early start in this one. As we see, the 15-second board is up. Soon as that turns sideways, we will get this one away, and you can see it right here. We are set to get Moto 2 underway. Who will jump out fastest? Who will crack under the pressure?
Oh, a great jump once again from Connor Towell. Looks like he got out equal with Blake Fox, and someone else there in the middle has come through. Let's keep an eye peeled on that.
Towell!
Someone's gone down there. Looks, I believe that may have been Hunter Collins.
I think so.
Yeah, I can spot that riding gear and that helmet. And who else is being caught up?
Well, Blake Fox, sorry, wasting no time to move into the lead there. Sorry to cut you off.
And likewise, Connor Towell, our top 2 place getters from last one.
Both of them launched out great off the start, but I honestly thought it was Ryder Kingsford that was going to lead them into that second turn. But as it was turned out, Kingsford back there in third. He is keeping plenty of pressure on our second place rider at the moment. So we just look back through the rest of the field and see who else might have been stranded in those first couple of turns. But our leaders now pushing their way through the center part of the track. Again, this is a bit different to what they might remember the last time they were on track. There's been a lot of laps done since then, and there are some new lines that have opened up for these riders to try and figure out the best way through. On the left-hand side, there is Blake Fox. Back over the jump. We'll have a look at the background.
Style, and have a look at the lead that he has pulled already. Ryder Kingsford on the Yamaha Junior Development team's moved himself up into second already, relegating Connor Towell back to third. So there's a nice little battle for overall. Campbell Williams in shot there, battling with Caden Minion. Now those 2 have come right down to the wire to get that 4th spot in that first race. 2 riders that are well and truly still in their junior careers. Great to see the boys up there.
These guys really trying to work their way through this deep part of the track. As we look up in the top left there, our Matrix Concept Whole Shot Award does get awarded to the 22 machine of Connor Towell. And already we are seeing it here with Blake Fox. He is starting to open up that lead already.
Well, as Jeremy McGrath's mechanic used to say and put on the pit board all the time, I think it's a case for Blake Fox of run and hide. And he's pretty much hidden already, and we haven't completed, we just completed lap number 1, a 5-second interval at the end of lap 1. That is absolutely incredible.
So the first portion lap time, it's not a complete lap, was a 140 compared to a 145.
Ooh, that's slot through there. Number 54, we got a Victorian rider. I believe that could be Benicio Caiafa. Let's have a quick little look here and try to pick it up. I'm sure that's Benicio on the Suzuki machine.
Connor Rosendich there on the 202 machine. He's having a good race this time around as well. He sits back there in third place at the moment, which means we've lost someone, possibly, according to our timing.
Fox, Kingsford, Conatau.
Yes.
Looking like, and hey, that kid is so talented, but every now and then can have that little bit of a tip over, and if there's one little chink in his armour, it's the one thing he wants to try to get rid of is those crashes. And Danny, you cannot afford to have a crash this early in the race. You know, what may in the middle of the race end up as just dropping 1 or 2 spots, you drop 20 spots at this time because so jammed up.
Well, there's Ryder Kingsford just in front of Campbell Williams as well. So
exactly.
He's gone down as well.
Kingsford's had some kind of a drama. So let's just try to catch him up as obviously live timing's trying to keep up with the amount of action and the speed at which it's happening out there on the track.
We're just looking, there's Conatau on the right, just going through the whoops.
Oh.
So he's a long way back as one of our riders go down the background.
Two, another one getting collected on the way through. So it's like a pinball machine going on out there. It's just absolute chaos at the moment.
As the dust starts to fly towards the 14 machine, that was one of those riders that went down. So unfortunate for him, that's not the way you want to start your second moto of the day. Very wide line there for one of our riders. There is Benny Novak on the number 70 machine. He currently sits there in 4th place.
And he's in a nice little battle with Jack Mather there on the Husqvarna from out of Queensland. So Benny Novak is right up there in 3rd place in the championship, and he will certainly be hoping to try to improve from his first race, where, if you remember, started up reasonably far ahead of the pack, but managed to make his way back a little bit. Where there was a bit of arm pump and not feeling comfortable in these conditions, Benny will be hoping to try to ride through that and make amends for that first one.
Well, I think he looks a bit different in this one. Much more aggressive. It was almost like it was a defensive ride last time out on the bike. He didn't look like he was settled. This time around, it's a different face on him at the moment. He is putting a lot of pressure on our 3rd place rider of Rosenditch on the 202 machine as they go through the centre part of the track. Right in behind them, someone we need to mention because he also had a good ride in the first one. There's a 28 machine of Holroyd. He made up a lot of passes.
Absolutely. Let's just give a little bit of a recap here. Blake Fox in the lead from Ryder Kingsford and Connor Rosenditch in our top 3. Benny Novak, Cooper Holroyd and Campbell Williams. We've got Jack Mather, Caden Minia, who was up in 4th place. Ryan Alexanderson back in 9th and Kobe Drew in 10th. So it'll be interesting to see how points are working around at the moment. Blake Fox and Ryder Kingsford easily our top 2 for podium at the moment, but Campbell Williams perhaps looking at the moment like a 3rd place overall as points sit at the moment. Let's just quickly go down to Rihanna.
Yeah, just had a chat to the team in regards to Ben Novak. I said, what was his feelings after that first moto? They said certainly wasn't happy. He rode really tight, wasn't breathing the way he should be breathing in these motos. So he's obviously had to think about that and a bit of a reset for this second one.
Well, it doesn't take much, does it, Lee? When you don't feel comfortable on the bike, it's just the little things, the small mistakes in the corners. As soon as you tighten up, those mistakes are amplified. If you're not breathing, you're still going to tighten up. Your arms could pump up just a little bit, and it makes it very difficult to go out there and ride the way you know you should be able to ride. So much improved this time around, Benny Novak. He looks very good. It was a stab of the brakes there, though, to try and stop for that run.
Yeah, it all started from a little bit of a boot in the rear end off one of those kickers and then jumping the rear brakes. You need to be careful because something like that can flow into the next corner, the next one. Next thing, you're pumped up a bit, and it's a chain of events that's really hard to turn around and get back into your favour.
We're looking a little bit further back here. It looks like maybe Patrick that might be on screen having a bit of a battle. It's good battles everywhere on track at the moment. No matter where you look, these guys are really pushing it. And it's just to point out that we are seeing Campbell Williams. His move is up there as well in 5th place. So yeah,
it looks like he just jumped up a position, must have passed Cooper Holroyd. So he's well and truly up in 3rd place overall as points stand at the moment.
Yeah, nice. Well, just looking then too, something we noticed in the first moto, Lee, was down that straight we just saw prior to this shot was a very creative inside line that we saw a few of the riders using. And it very obvious that they've put some hay bales there to try and define the edge of the track just a little bit better. So you can see some of them riders just then trying to squeeze as much out of that fresh track area as they could, riding right against those hay bales. We'll point it out next time we get past there.
Now, Danny, let's just quickly make point here that fastest lap time
a 150 for Blake Fox. The next closest is a 154. He is on his own planet at the moment, and particularly today. He obviously likes this style of track, and he just looks so at home. And I think you may have mentioned earlier on in the live streaming for Moto 1, he'd be right up there somewhere in the mix in the MX2 category.
Yeah, it's exactly where he needs to be aiming for, isn't it? That's his next stepping stone. He needs to push towards that. He needs to check off his times. This is the part I was talking about on the left just there. You can just catch the hay bales, so that line is pretty much taken out of the equation for most of these riders, but that's not going to affect this rider here. Ryder Kingsford looking very good, a bit more composed this time, Lee. He did get a little flustered, we thought, after his crash in Moto number 1, and definitely looks a bit more smooth, comfortable on the bike this time around.
Well, it's just his pure out-and-out hunger. When it goes bad for him and he's way back from where he wants to be, just can't control that I need to be up there kind of thing, you know. So, and I can appreciate that, and I think it's a good thing to have in a younger rider, because it's so much easier to hone that out of someone and get them as they mature, to tame that down a bit, rather than to try to get someone that's not hungry enough to all of a sudden get hungry. It's a quality that I like to see in a young rider like that.
Well, Novak's still working on Resenditch. Yep, just there in front of him as they went through Bell Corner right there. And he is still right on the back wheel there. Two separate lines over this part, a split part of the track. You have the inside and outside line, and earlier on that other line was probably pretty good. Now it seems like it's moved across to the other side.
Then we can just see Campbell Williams. They're starting to edge up into a battle with these three. He's right on him now. He's come from about 3 seconds back to almost onto the back of Benny Novak there. So
Holroyd right on the back of him as well. So we could see a little four-way battle going on in a matter of laps, I guess. We still have 10 minutes to go in this one. With a 154, there's probably about 5 or 6 laps to go, so plenty of time on track for these riders to settle out this battle that they've got going on as they come around towards the finish line again. Here we go, Novak around the outside.
And it really is a case, Hammy, of Blake Fox being in a league of his own alongside Ryder Kingsford. So those boys doing a 153 and a 154, first and second, versus a 159, 158. Campbell Williams a 157, so
and Holroyd behind him as well.
So the boys have stepped up a little bit here, and another. That's the second time in a row that we've seen
Williams right on.
Yeah, Campbell. I think it's only a matter of time here as Campbell tries to set up a nice little pass on the inside there, moves up a position into 4th place for Cambo.
Done so smoothly as well, and that's what we were talking about with the little kicks of the bike. It doesn't take much to unsettle you and drown out that confidence that you might have had that made you feel a little uncomfortable. So right there we saw a good example of it. Nice pass up to the inside there. I can't quite pick up that Yamaha rider, but a little pop over the top right there was a nice move. And there's Holroyd right on the back wheel of Novak as well.
We've got Benny Novak that didn't like that pass by Campbell Williams, and looks like he's trying to bounce back. So a nice little to and fro battle going on there with the two red riders. Here we see it looks like Williams up onto the back of Conor Razenditch at the moment, and a little mistake from Novak, and a great battle going on here.
Yeah, this is good. Really good racing at the moment. So let's see who's got the stronger mind on them as they run down towards the latter part of this race. There we go. Holroyd has got himself around Novak as well, so Holroyd's the man.
Yes, and he's really trying to latch onto the back of Campbell Williams at the moment. It's slightly different lines there. He's managed to pick up the pace, has Cooper Holroyd, and as to how this is going to play out and where they're going to finish, I think it's going to, a little bit of arm pump could play into a factor here.
Oh, a mistake there by Rosenditch as he went over that little pop over the jump.
Totally did, yes.
And stalled the bike. He was trying to get it going, but it doesn't take much at all. He has dropped back maybe 4 positions right there. There is Mather as well on the back of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, small mistake. Does not take much to lose that ground. And we see the pass has been made by these guys. Now, will Holroyd continue to move forward to try and battle it out with Williams up there for 3rd place? definitely Williams has secured himself a spot on the podium where he sits at the moment.
Yeah, quite comfortably at the moment. But who knows? There's just so much racing left to go, and they're so close. As things sit at the moment, Blake Fox with a 1-1 would be overall on the day. Ryder Kingsford a clear second overall. Now that he doesn't have Connor Towell trying to pick up where he is in the big scheme of things, and Campbell Williams a clear third place with a couple of positions to work with at the moment. So great to see both second and third place there, juniors in their last year of junior racing. So fantastic stuff.
Holroyd looking down the inside. One thing you've got to notice with Campbell Williams is just he doesn't even look like he's trying. So he's just standing up everywhere, really, really smooth. The intensity, it's something that I always preach when I've got people to teach us. The smoothness is the key. You get smooth, your speed will come with it. You know, you can see these erratic riders that look like they're going fast, but not always. How's the wheelie through there by Holroyd?
Holroyd, keeping that back wheel on the ground and planted all the way through. That was...
big drive.
Yeah, really nice, keeping that Yamaha driving right through there. Campbell Williams is...
He's going to have to hurry.
Yeah, he's got his hands full with someone that's prepared to let it all hang out. How is it to see completely different riding styles between the two riders?
Yeah, completely different. As we see them head towards the finish line, we have 6.5 minutes still in this race plus 1 lap, so a lot more racing yet to go.
Still plenty of time.
In this, absolutely. Up and over is the Honda rider. He's a long way back from our second place. It's 18 seconds, something like that, to second place in front of them. So this is the battle for themselves. They won't make it any further up without any mishaps up the front. And the leader is clear. Absolutely clear of everyone. And
it's good to see that lap times have stabilised somewhat. We've got Blake Fox, who's a 1:55 in the last lap, and then we got
Knack off the bike. Benny
Novak has had a big one and just trying to turn his day around, and unfortunately it's gone pear-shaped for the Honda rider here in Moto 2.
And I'm going to pick it up. Watch this kick of the back wheel. We've said it every single lap so far. It's upset him nearly every single lap, unfortunately.
That took a big digger there.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a hit to the ground with the head. Hayden Minia getting nice evasive action there, avoiding him. We get back to Campbell Williams has just got himself
creeped
the
out.
Smallest of gaps here. Enough so that you don't start worrying about, you know, someone coming up the inside line of you perhaps.
I think he's found some nice lines this race, that being Campbell Williams. He's been exploring a bit. He's out on the outsides in some of the turns where we thought earlier on weren't so great. A little mistake there, though, going into that turn, the back end stepping out. He did manage to catch it, but that, again, allows Holroyd to gain that small amount of confidence. And have a look at the wheelies again through there. Holroyd is good at it. It wasn't a fluke.
No, he knows what he's doing through there, and he can see. That's what Campbell needs to be a little bit careful through there, because if Holroyd manages to stick to the back of him and they get to that section, not only is Williams going slower through there, but he opens up the inside line. So there will be almost a certain pass there.
Mistake again by Williams. He's starting to feel that pressure now as we enter the very last part of this race. 4 minutes to go, plus the extra lap. So another 3 or 4, well, at least 4 laps. 3 laps, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's looking for that last lap board. If he can make it to that last lap board, there's a chance he's going to hold it. Have a look at the back wheel here. This is amazing stuff. Watching Holroyd go through there like that.
I'll tell you what, if the camera work, we can keep it on that particular rider, but on Cooper Holroyd, when we get to that part of the track again, Campbell Williams needs to make sure he's got that gap, but otherwise there's going to be a pass made there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. This is up to Holroyd now. He needs to close the ground before he gets there. He's not going to do mistakes like that.
No, that's right. We're not too far away from getting to that that part of the track as we speak. But what a battle we're seeing here. Sensational stuff. Well, not quite sure, I'm not too familiar with Cooper Holroyd, but do know the white numbers on the background. We're talking about a senior rider versus a junior rider here, and that's you know, that's what we're getting in these classes, is the beauty of being able to have juniors and seniors battling together. These guys are very close.
Yep.
And you know what? This is a smart rider. Cooper Holroyd knows how close he needs to be. And then just like that, the gap just comes back again.
If he maintained that, he would have had a good chance of it going through the rollers this time around, but just that one little straight. I don't know what it was.
He's doing everything he can to get back on it again, but it's just not going to be quite enough.
No, but you can see it.
Yeah.
If he is there, he's looking at that inside line, trying to dive it in there. As we see, another rider that's gone down.
big.
3:04, Dominic Wilson by the looks of it. 2:47 to go in this one for Campbell Williams. 3 more laps. He's doing all right at the moment. He's managed to hold off the pressure that's been put to him. Every time we see Holroyd getting in close, Williams responds by opening up that gap just a little bit again, a little bit of breathing room. It's exactly what we need to see out of him to maintain that 3rd position. So they clock down another one. Really smooth,
beautiful,
and quick through there, isn't it? Williams, Holroyd on screen right now is looking fantastic. But every time he gets in close, Williams answers the call.
Yeah, and the thing you've got to consider at this time of the race, he's stretched out quite a handy little lead at the moment. What you've got to consider is when you're riding the way that Campbell Williams is riding, you use a little bit less energy than Cooper Holroyd is when he's letting it all hang out a little bit. Now, he might be the type of rider that doesn't mind letting it all hang out. It still takes more energy to ride that way than it does to be smooth. So coming into these latter stages of the race, you've got to prefer to be that one that's being sort of fairly smooth.
Well, through the centre part once again, but we go back to our leader. So he goes down towards Max's turn, and he still controls a 24-second lead over second place.
Incredible. What an interesting place to park your bike there for our number 4 Kawasaki machine.
It's the last place you need to be when you're out there. 1:13 to go. So we have 2 laps left for our leader. Right now, is he over the finish line jump in behind a couple of laps riders with the lead he's got? He can take as much time as he likes to get around these guys, make sure he doesn't come into any little unforeseen troubles trying to get past them. Let them do what they need to do and then make their way past these riders with ease. There's another one just about to go down as well, and Fox looking like he's on his way for another win.
And just did a quick little double check there, Hammy. Cooper Holroyd got himself a 7th place in Moto 1. So if he managed to get past Campbell Williams in this one, that'd be very, very close. I believe that Campbell would knock him off the podium for the final spot for 3rd place on the podium by about 1 point. Be very, very close. So this is going to come right down to the wire, and I just don't know if Cooper Holroyd completely understands how close he is to getting his first ever podium in a national championship, and certainly for junior rider Campbell Williams to get his first podium. Not quite sure if he realises where Holroyd finished in that first one. So hopefully the pit boards are keeping them well and truly up to date. We just clicked 0, so we're lap 11 of 12. 0 on the timer. 1 more lap to go, so this time as Blake Fox comes around, he is staring down the barrel of a stellar day, let me tell you.
Through the lap traffic, very strong on the bike. He's a big kid. We've mentioned that before. He looks almost to the point where you could think he could ride a 450, honestly. He's a big kid on this bike, but he manhandles it all the way around. And another rider that is just so smooth. It's the style of riding he is. Extremely smooth and calculated as he goes through these ruts. There is our 2nd place rider, Ryder Kingsford, a long way back, as we said, just negotiating another one of the downed riders, and he'll be receiving the last lap board as he comes around as well. So just take a look at the left there of the split between our riders, and it's only about half a second between Williams and Holroyd at the moment. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty close going into this final lap.
It is so close. I'm sure you could almost throw a blanket over those 2 riders, but with the final lap coming down, and obviously the boys about to cross the finish line. Here we go. Pass is made. Okay, well it's almost time to start doing the maths and see how this is going to play out. It's going to be super close. I think there's 1 point in it, and we're going to have to wait and see what it pans out at, because what an amazing feat it's going to be for either one of these 2 riders.
There is Williams now in 4th. It looks like Conatell right there. That they've just put a lap down on. It's not where we expected him to be. Unfortunate for him with that little incident earlier on in this one, so we don't know exactly how that happened, but see third and fourth. They're still not over yet. Williams is still trying. It's good to see. I'm sure he realises that there's only one lap left. If he does a few clean corners right here, he's got a good chance of retaking this position.
Yep, nice close little battle here, but I tell you what, Blake Fox must be ever so close to going over that checkered flag. He's got a massive lead ahead of him, and he'll be about to receive that checkered flag and turn this into a clean sweep and stretching out that 12-point lead in the championship even more, Danny Ham.
Up over the tabletop down the very back. Very good call there, Lee. I was going to say the rollers, but he has done everything absolutely right today. 2
corners to go. What a way to do the day.
Well, you won't see a much better ride out of a motocross rider as we've seen this kid do today. Blake Fox round the last turn, so calculated. He will come across and take the win in moto number 2. A perfect day for Blake Fox on the Gas.
Congratulations, Blake Fox. Red plate holder will manage to keep that red plate. We've still got quite a few seconds until the Yamaha rider, number 21, still junior rider, Ryder Kingsford, will make his way over the finish line and secure himself a solid 2nd place overall on the day. Incredible job for the Yamaha rider, cementing his 2nd place in the championship so far.
There is Holroyd too, that also looks like he's managed to hold off the attack from Williams. He's going to come across in 3rd place as well. So really solid ride by Holroyd, and it is going to be so close in the points for the overall for the day. It looks like he might know. The way he just went over that finish line, I think he may have already done the calculations before they went out. He may know that he might have got the overall, but we don't have that official word just yet.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Either way, no matter who gets it, whether it's Cooper Holroyd or Campbell Williams, incredible job from those boys. And I couldn't be more proud of Campbell, whether he's on the podium or not. Congratulations, buddy. Sensational ride.
Rosendish on screen there. Unfortunately for him, we expected to see him up there a little bit at the start of this race. And after a little mishap, he is a little bit further back than we're expecting him. So just making his way around to close out this one. And we'll see it overall pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. Our winner, very happy there. You can see it in the face, extending out that championship lead. He's done everything he needed to do today. As we take a quick look at Maxxis Tyre MX3 results, it was Blake Fox, of course. We saw that brilliant ride by him. Ryder Kingsford, Cooper Holroyd with a fantastic ride as well. Campbell Williams comes across in 4th. Ryan Alexanderson, Kobe Drew, Hayden Minia, Travis Orlando, Jack Mather, and Tyne Keenan with another 10th.
Byron Dennis there on the gas in 11th. We've got Jet Burgess Stevens, Rory Fairbrother. We've got Liam Jackson down in 15th. Hunter Collins. The list of names goes on. These guys up there in the top 20 of the Maxxis Tyres MX3 Moto 2.
Great way to get the old broadcast going, isn't it, Lee? It's been fantastic racing, but we're going to head down to Rihanna with our winners.
Yeah, time now for the podium for the Maxxis MX3 Moto number 2. Blake Fox, you are in a league of your own at the moment today. Absolutely whitewashed. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a pretty perfect day, I think. 2 good starts, good qualifying, and 2 race wins. Just felt like I was just riding my own race today, so it was good. And can't give a big enough thanks to all the team at Gas Australia, Pirelli Tyres, ProMX, MotorX, Spy Goggles. Everyone else, thanks for that. Yeah,
congratulations. Enjoy this moment. Taking out 2nd position today on the Yamaha. Ryder Kingsford, you didn't quite get the moto you wanted earlier today, but great to get on the podium this afternoon.
Moto 1 went off to a pretty average start. Crashed in the first couple laps and made it hard on myself, but then was a lot better. I got into a better position up early, and then Blake was just too good today. So, just like to thank all my sponsors for getting me where I am. Yamaha, Yamalib, Faceta Scott, Just One, Outpoint Stars, the Beatons Pro Formula, and John Park over at JP's Performance. And just thanks to all them guys.
Congratulations, Ryder, on the podium again today and taking out 3rd place and rounding out our final position on the podium. Congratulations, Cooper Holroyd. Boy, you had to work for it towards the end between yourself and Campbell Williams. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a hard chase, but towards the end I just had to make the move. I knew I had to stick it in. Unfortunately for him, he made a mistake. good for me, but it was a good race between us.
Take some time to take a few deep breaths. Congratulations to all our podium place getters, Blake Fox, Ryder Kingsford and Cooper Holroyd.
Sensational job there from those three, and of course Blake Fox taking the win with a double victory. Let's take a look here at the championship points for the Maxxis MX3 after round 4. Fox, Kingsford, Minia rounding out the top 3, back to Benny Novak, Kobe Drew, Ty Keane in 6th place, Jack Mather, Campbell Williams makes his way up to 8th, Cooper Holroyd with his podium there gets him to 9th, and Ryan Alexanderson rounding out the top 10.
Well, don't go anywhere. We still have plenty of action-packed racing still to come straight after this break. Welcome back to the Penrite ProMX Motocross Championships presented by AMX Superstores here at Maitland Motocross Track. We're only moments from getting Moto number 2 of MX2 underway, but before we get to that, let's head down to Rihanna for an update.
Yeah, big story coming out of the first Moto this afternoon. Nathan Crawford, unfortunately, recording another DNF. Just give us some insights what happened there.
hard to say. Not really much to say about that moto. We got a new one here in about 10 minutes, so yeah, just really looking forward on getting the result that I deserve in this one and trying to break that curse.
I can tell Nathan's pretty frustrated. I spoke to the team earlier. The mechanical issue with that bike, something to do with the motor. He's on the spare bike for this second moto this afternoon.
Yeah, good grab there, Rihanna. I had a good chat with Gavin Eales, the team owner of the Serco Yamaha crew. They truly don't know at this stage what it was. I said to Gavin, did the bike lock up and just stop, or did it go and stop, like as in it ran out of fuel or an ignition issue? He said that is exactly what it was. It wasn't a lock-up. They're yet to establish what it is, but devastating news for Nathan Crawford. So, right, now it's time to go to a very cool little package, a Who's Who package. Let's take a look.
The Pirelli MX2 class is the official transition into the professional classes of the ProMX Championship. Riders as young as 15 can compete on both two-stroke and four-stroke machines. It's the perfect platform for riders to impress the manufacturers in this sport. Let's meet some of the stars of the Pirelli MX2 Championship.
I'm Nathan Crawford, number 199, and I ride for Serco Yamaha. This year, I'm here to win the MX2 Championship.
I'm Dylan Wills, number 64, and I ride on the race line Husqvarna. My biggest competitor this year is whoever's leading the championship.
I'm Jay Wilson, number 6, and I ride for the Yamaha racing team. This year, I'm going for the championship.
I'm Chandler Burns, number 24, and I race for the Davey Motorsports TuneTech support team. This year, I want to get some top 10s and get my name up there in the Australian motocross scene.
I'm Hugh McKay from Tasmania, bike number 46, supported by Ride More Australia. This year, I'm chasing a top 5 in the MX2 Championship.
I'm Levi Rogers, number 34, and I ride for Yamaha Racing. This year, I'm going for top 10.
I'm Alex Larwood, bike number 5, and I ride for the WR Bulk Nutrient Trace team. My biggest competitor this year is Kyle Webster.
I'm Jesse Dobson, number 14, and I ride for the Serco Yamaha team. This year, my goal is to be the Australian MX2 champion. My biggest competitor is Kyle Webster and anyone else in my way.
I'm Kyle Webster, bike number 96, and I ride for the Honda Racing team. This year, I'm out to win the championship.
I'm Jar Roberts, bike number 100, and I ride for KTM Australia. My biggest competitor is everyone I'm lined up against.
Hey, I'm Reece Budd, number 22, riding for Yamaha Racing. This year I'm looking to chase some podium results and looking to finish the season top 5. My biggest competitor is probably myself, but of course everyone else behind the gate, so looking forward to going racing.
Well, the MX2 class, it's all been about Kyle Webster, but how about that moustache on Reece Budd?
Very nice, as we see some highlights from moto number 1. And it got away, it looked like it was going to be a Kyle Webster show from the first turn. But craziness, on the very first lap, one of our riders off the side, Webster, was unable to stop for that corner. He went around the jump, so pushed back a little bit. And also Jai Roberts going down. Not the way to start your day, but it was Wilson that jumped into the lead early on in this one. A few boys battling it out, and it was going to be Wilson that led him around for the first lap.
And that little bump on Kyle Webster there could have gone all kinds of pear-shaped, couldn't it? I guess when things are going your way, everything tends to fall into place. So here we see the move from Kyle Webster around Jay Wilson, who was originally leading, and from there it was clean sailing. Nothing too crazy, just got out to a nice little gap and kept it that way. Jesse Dobson almost going on the high side there of the Yamaha as he had all kinds of pressure from behind.
There was a lot of mistakes by a lot of riders in this one as well. This was not uncommon for this race. Wilson had a fantastic ride there in second place. One of the better performances that we have seen out of him this year. A little bit more like we expect to see out of Wilson, but unfortunately it didn't end that way for him. As we see him here on screen, just going through here. He had to put up with a lot of pressure from the riders behind him. Reece Budd applying that the whole time. He came through and pushed hard.
I can't speak highly enough about Reece Budd and his moustache. He's a second place in the championship, and likewise second place in Moto 1 today. As we saw Hugh McKay, the Tasmanian, there having his own little issues there, but no issues to speak of other than a slight little boot in the rear end there for Kyle Webster. Other than that, the red plate looking very nice on the red bike. We've got someone going down, evasive manoeuvre there from Webster as he makes his way on towards the checkered flag. Wrapping it up in a very convincing race 1 win in the Pirelli MX2 class.
No matter where we looked, Lee, there was so much action going on. As we take a quick look at the Pirelli MX2 Moto 2 lineup, Kyle Webster, of course, our Moto 1 winner, was on 96. Jesse Dobson, Reese Budd, who was very strong Moto 1. Nathan Crawford had that bad luck. He's back on the line. Jay Wilson, Noah Ferguson, also with a good ride, as too Dylan Wills, Hugh McKay, Jace Cosford, and Jai Roberts.
As we keep going through the list, Ferguson, Barham, Rogers, etc. Just want to quickly touch on Nathan Crawford. Remember what happened the last time he had a DNF? Come out the next race swinging. Not the best of starts, but managed to make his way through the pack and was the only one to put any form of pressure on Kyle Webster and almost reeled him in that one. I dare say he's going to have the fire in the belly for this one here.
Yeah, absolutely. That last interview showed us that he is ready for this one. All right, Ree, what else you got for us?
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch them go off with that siding lap. The last bike to leave was our man, Kyle Webster. Continues to be undefeated this season. Let's see how he goes in this moto. A couple of eager eyes watching on this race on the side of the fence. Regan Duffy and Kirk Gibbs.
Yeah, Rihanna, I love we got a shot there of Kyle Webster and the process that the top riders use for warming up that tyre. I think I briefly touched on it before with the live streaming, but they start with a little bit of a burnout like we're seeing at the moment, and then it ends up with a little punch of the clutch. So they give it a nice little punch, and it tacks up that tyre, gets it beautiful and sticky and ready to go. The time frame though, can't do it too early, can't do it too late. You need the tyre at the right temperature. You got to remember, we don't have slicks like a road race. We've only got knobs here. We are in the starter's hands. That Pirelli 15-second board is up. Watch her for when she goes sideways, and we'll be in the starter's hands, ready for a drop of the gate.
Well, we anticipate the inside wheel getting the start. It has done all day long. We'll see if we can get proven wrong as we look at the riders sitting right up, getting as much weight onto the back wheels. Gates go down. Who is going to launch out the best in this one?
Kyle Webster's got squeezed out between the two Yamahas, and he certainly will not have that whole shot.
Crawford is up there.
He's up there.
Dobson went so deep, almost over the bars, trying to pull up.
How did somehow Kyle Webster slot it into a great spot, and he'll go up into second place? Someone went far off the track. Who have we got
47.
there? Number 47. He's okay if he's punching the ground. He's okay, and there's no major dramas. But we'll just try to pick up who that rider was. Brock Ninnis? Yes, Brock Ninnis, number 47.
Well, Jay Wilson leads this one for the first one around.
Webster has dropped back to fourth. He's gone from second to fourth.
So outside line, possibly looking for something different in that second turn, has allowed the other Yamaha riders. We have a Yamaha 1, 2, 3 at the moment as Webster looks for this outside line. Remember, the track has changed a lot since they were out there last. Dobson needs to get across. Otherwise, Webster will make the pass. As we look up to the 7 whole shot award, and it is going to Nathan Crawford. So, first tick off for this race after such a bad start to Moto number 1. Here's the whole shot. Can he continue this charge through to the lead? Now, I'm going to say, at a guess, he is going to be pretty damn hard to pass in this one.
Well, you got to think of the mindset, right? And then nothing to lose versus everything to lose from Kyle Webster, who won't do anything silly at the early stages of this race. Once again caught up. That was Hugh McKay that looked like come together with Kyle Webster. Now we go into damage control.
I think Webster may have already been stopped right down there because those guys were way further back. He is at least, that's like the 15th, I think, at a
Yes, 12th for Hugh McKay. So
we're about to go across the line. We'll be able to get an update on our timing.
We're about to see the first true test for Kyle Webster.
15th.
Because
that's what I said. 15th place for Kyle Webster. Yes, this is going to test him. We've been saying how strong he has been all year long. He has always been at the front, but he has had to make some passes, no question at all. But he has not been put in this position yet.
He's had good starts, and he's always been top 2 or 3. Very quickly gets into first place. This is going, look, what he needs to come to terms with is the streak may come to an end here. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Championship's what matters. Let's try to get up into a top 3. All right, we get into top 3, maybe top 2, then take it from there. The main thing he needs to do is he needs to be calculated and not rush it too much, because he's got a calibre of rider around him at the moment that he's not used to battling with so far this year. People that are prepared to do anything it takes to get anywhere near the top 3.
Oh, I'm just going to glance across at our Pirelli leaderboard. It is Wilson, Crawford, Dobson, Bud is also up there with a good start, and Wills as well, so we may see him challenging it out as well. Constantino, Ferguson, Rogers, Ravenhorst, Hadlow. Let's keep an eye on where Webster is as he makes his way forwards. 15th across the line that last time around. Let's see how many places he can make up in this one lap. As we see our front 3 runners really pushing hard. This is a good ride for all the Yamaha boys.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be a tough call from here if he can do it, but the possibility is there for a second place in Moto 1 with Reece Budd. If he can somehow get from where he sits at the moment in 4th and somehow get up to let's say even a second place, he'll get the overall win here. But he's got some fast characters in front of him. It's not like, he's just got a couple of mid-pack riders he's got to get past. Wilson, Crawford, Dobson, 3 of the biggest names in our sport.
Oh, look at this, up the inside, Crawford trying to push it in there. Big run out of that turn prior to this one. It looked like it was a mistake there, but this is certainly where the pressure is coming from at the moment. Crawford, he does look like he's got the bit between his teeth. He is looking for some new lines down the inside here. Drop down and into this left-hander. Can he find anything at the moment? Rails around the outside. We may see a pass right here around the outside.
Nice line, and a little mistake from Wilson as he hit a kicker bump that slowed the momentum of his Yamaha. It allowed Crawford to rail the outside with no bumps. However, once again...
Wilson, nice. Very nice line up the inside. It's crazy to think that these guys use it. The inside here has got to be much better.
It has to. We've got to see a pass here. It does have a hook in at the inside. The outside carries a lot of momentum. However, Crawford railed that inside and just headed straight for the outside of the corner. I think we're going to see a run and hide situation from Nathan Crawford. We've got a replay of what's going on here.
Oh, this is just the pass. Nice move around the outside there by Crawford. Really stoked to see that he's turned his day back around right now. You said it before we even started. Last time that this happened, he came out swinging. He's done exactly the same thing again today.
Now, Kyle Webster is chipping away. I was just about to say he's not making moves fast enough. He's only up to 10th. Just as I say that, he's into 9th. Then we start to look at the names. Constantino, Ferguson, Rogers, even Dylan Wills are the kind of riders. Nothing wrong with these guys, but we expect the likes of Kyle Webster to be able to mount an attack and start climbing forward very quickly.
Another lap down, 19 minutes, still go long way to go now. You saw the results of the first race, and that was the only thing you were going off. You saw Wilson back there in 6th or 7th, something like that. It does not tell the story. Wilson rode exceptional first race all the way to the very last lap. Now, I spoke to him between the motos. He said, simply, it was my fault. I made a mistake. I misjudged one of the lap riders. I thought he was going to one place. He went to another, and he tried to make a turn and just simply didn't make it. Had the smallest of tip overs. Second all the way through, one mistake, way back.
Now, Hammy, let's just have a little look here. Jesse Dobson and Reece Budd, as they sit at the moment, being that they've swapped positions, will be equal on points. Let's throw in the mix Jay Wilson, who had a 4th in Moto 1, but currently sits in 2nd, also equal in points. We've got 3 riders currently equal on points. If it stayed like this, it would come down to a count back, which would see Jay Wilson win on the day with Dobson 2nd and Reece Budd 3rd, all on the same points, all sorted by a count back.
Absolutely crazy. We see a big move here by McKay around the outside of the 46. He's trying to make his way forward a little bit more. Big little width cross, scrub across that jump, keeping that momentum going. If you follow any of his social media stuff, really good videos that these guys do down there in Tasmania. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
The interval we see now between Crawford back to Wilson, 2.4. So we're already starting to stretch that out. Wilson back to Dobson, however, at only 0.7 of a second. Reece Budd bit lonely all by himself from how it's looking here. He's got 3 seconds up to Dobson and nearly 3 back to Wilsey. So Rogers right in there battling after his big mistake, a little crash in that first one. And then Ferguson and Webster only 5 seconds back. So Kyle Webster, if he can get a run on, if he can get sprint speed up and complete the whole moto, we've still got 17.5 minutes plus a lap. He still has the ability to get up somewhere near the top 4 and quite possibly could still get the overall on the day.
Even amongst the other riders at the moment, he just set his fastest lap time of this race at a 52.6, 152.6. Our leader, a 152.4. So he is running the pace of the leaders, but if he
while
is going
he's in slower
while
pack,
he's in deeper traffic. So if he can get some clear track, he should make some inroads towards the front. We see a few of the more of our riders. It looks like Joe Roberts there, possibly on the 100 on the right-hand side of the screen. He is a local rider that has come back to racing this year after a big injury. It's great to see him back out on track. Bad moto number 1 going down in the first turn. 34, we saw him up there earlier on today. It's a long way back at the moment. That is Levi Rogers. Now, we don't know what happened to him, but he was in the mechanics area briefly just then.
Well, that slotted Webster up another position. That was one that he was going to have to get past. So he was up there just behind Dylan Wills and ahead of Noah Ferguson. So Webster now up to 7th place and edging ever so closer to being able to not only battle for top 3 overall for the day, and of course continue his charge for the championship, but maybe even get another overall win under his belt. This is one rider who we don't have to worry about for the overall win on the day, but he is going to want to get a victory in the moto. The first person that would take a moto win off Kyle Webster in 6 motos.
And done on his practice bike, or spare bike. Well, that just shows how quick this guy can ride when he is a bit of luck on his side. He has had some terrible luck so far this year with the bike issues that he has.
So, Danny, let's just have a quick look here. Race leader, 152.5, Nathan Crawford. Only other rider in a 152 was Kyle Webster. However, that just ticked over. He got a 153. As you mentioned, he's mired in with some riders at a little bit not quite the same pace as him, as Jesse Dobson tries to mount another challenge on Jay Wilson. And just watching Wilson going into that corner there, this track, what's sticking out in my mind, it's got great ruts, it's got a lot of good flow to it. There's some braking bumps that have some nasty kickers on it. I go back to that kick that Benny Novak got a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. We're seeing it in MX2 class as well, and I dare say we're going to see it later on in the MX1 class. Not the usual braking bumps where you just get a little bit of swap side to side or a bit of a boot. We're seeing some real nasty kicks here today. It's developing into a track where you really need to be quite creative with your line selection.
Eyes always over the track as we take a little glimpse back at Webster, and that back wheel locked up there. He actually looked like he may have stalled it coming into that jump. Luckily for him, though, he had the momentum and a little pop off the ground there.
He's ahead of Ferguson now into 6th place, and the next on the hit list will be Dylan Wills.
As he makes his way through to the rollers right now, I was just saying that he was lucky with the bike landing on the ground with that momentum. He was able to just bump start that bike again, very briefly, but again, going into that turn, a little mistake, just overcooked the corner a fraction. Had to brake a little bit harder than he needed to so that he could pull up for the corner.
Race through that sand section.
Yeah, absolutely flying through there, tipping it into this one, and already clearing out from Ferguson right there behind him, and he is starting to close in on our lead riders as we keep an eye on our times.
You know what? Dylan Wills is closed into only 1.1 seconds off Reese Budd. So,
so Willsy last time around at 153.3. Second, third fastest on the track. So this is a good rider on Wills as we keep an eye on the background, see if we can see him.
What a battle here from these 2 Yamaha boys. A nice little Yamaha hit out here, controlling the first 4 with Nathan Crawford, Jay Wilson, Jesse Dobson and Reese Budd.
Wilson there changing up his line after the pass by Nathan Crawford. He may have been onto that one a few laps ago, but keeping the mind open when you see these passes made or someone that is gaining ground on you, you've got to think about it just like if you were following the live stream earlier on, something that Craig Anderson mentioned, that he was always hearing the other bikes around him, wondering where the riders were making up their time. and looking for those new lines. Just waiting for that crossover there for Dobson to work. He goes right out wide and swings into this. As they go into some lapped riders, this could play into it.
Now, as we're watching at the moment, Danny, we're going to have to see a pass from Jesse Dobson to move up. It could be right here. Although it does go into...
it's going to be... Yeah, that was nice by Wilson.
Wilson doubling those two bumps. That was very close and almost should have been a pass, but it was something very special from Wilson. I was just about to say, Jesse Dobson, as we see at the moment, is the only real threat as we see Kyle Webster climbing up through the pack to 6th place, and he's going to keep climbing. The only person that's really a threat for the overall on the day for him is Jesse Dobson. Dobson does need to hop up into that 2nd place, because Dobson with a 3rd place in Moto 1 and moves up to a 2nd in this one. Still, I don't know if it's going to be enough with the charge we're seeing from Kyle Webster, but this is the kind of exciting racing that we like to see from MX2. Don't get me wrong, everyone loves to see a hero like Kyle Webster out in the lead, but this is throwing a cat amongst the pigeons. We're seeing some fantastic battles.
Reece Budd still 4 seconds back behind these guys, 1 in front of Wills, and then 5 seconds back to Webster. So Webster does have a lot of ground to make up, although last lap around he was fastest on track.
He's not taking out big chunks from Wills, is he?
Yeah, well, but he was 1.4 seconds over Wills last time. So if he can continue to do that, especially if they start getting into some lapped riders, continue to keep that speed up, I'm sure that he will make it to Wills. It's going to be a tall order to get up to Budd and the rest of them.
He doesn't need to, though. That's the thing. You've got to remember where Dobson is at the moment in the big picture. He needs to be smart here. The old Kyle Webster would fight to the death. He'd either try to get 1st place or he'd cartwheel and end up finishing way back in the pack. He's had to rewire his brain and how he thinks, you know, like it's one thing to be a warrior and want to do that. You need to think big picture.
Here's that pass again, the line up the inside.
Well, can Jay Wilson double this braking bump again like he did?
Well, wheelie over at that time.
Still worked.
Still worked, but that puts Dobson right there. The outside has been very good in this corner, but Wilson takes the same line. Smart riding there by Wilson, although I think he's been running that line quite a bit.
Now, Danny, this is by no means saying anything bad about the fitness of Wilsey or Reece Budd. They're both extremely fit. I know especially Reece Budd trains so hard. But what you have to factor in is no one has the fitness and staying power of Kyle Webster. So what we currently see with lap times and the pattern that's going on, as we progress down to the next 7, 8, 9 minutes, when we've still got another couple of laps to go after that, you have to think that the one that's going to be able to keep these times going, if not improve their times, will be Kyle Webster. So watch this space. He just needs to make sure he minimises those mistakes. And yeah, let's watch.
Big move right here by Dobson. Tries to push it around the outside. We did see the pass made earlier of Wilson. Exact same spot. Can he make it stick this time around? Another Yamaha rider around the outside. It works well with the inside to this next corner, and it looks like Dobson's going to be able to make it.
Dobson has done what he needs to do. He has put himself in the game for the overall.
And to cement your point also, Lee, about Webster, he just set the fastest lap of his race at a 151.8. No one even close. 2 seconds difference in that last
the
lap.
longer the race goes on, the better Kyle Webster gets. Let's have a look at this pass once again. Jesse Dobson, the real deal. Have a look at this. Fantastic move on Jay Wilson. He knows he'll be getting the information from his Serco Yamaha team. His mechanic will be telling him it's go time. You need these points. It's going to be very, very difficult. Not out of the question, but very difficult to get a hold of his teammate, Nathan Crawford, who is on his own absolute mission. But have a look at Kyle Webster and the intensity.
We're going to keep an eye on the screen in front of him, the area in front of him, see if we can find out where that next rider will be. It is Wills. He should just be out of shot.
Yeah, he's all over the back of Reece Budd, just 0.4 of a second from what live timing is showing us.
It's
and
right
only
there.
3 seconds now. It's all happening here.
Well, that should be Wills there, I think, in shot.
It is, and
he's already, yeah, Wills is in front of Reece Budd.
Yes.
So Willsy has made the pass. It's a good ride by Wills. It's what we expect to see out of him. Much better performance.
This is the old Willsy that we've seen from years ago. Great to see a bit of form. Once again, we're on a track that we know he does well. Likewise with Reese Budd. These guys are in their element here.
Well, it was the East Coast round that we did have here where Wills was the only rider that could really challenge Budd on the day, and I think he even may have got the position over him in that one, in one of the races. So solid ride here as the track deteriorates and gets a little bit rougher.
And I can tell you, Kyle
Yeah.
Webster is not 3.7 seconds back, so do not look at that time because we are talking no more than a couple of seconds. It might be in the high ones. Oh, there we go. Just changed. 1.5 seconds. Webster is on here. So sometimes I think Kyle Webster prefers this. I think he likes to be in amongst this type of stuff rather than out by himself. He's an absolute battler, like a warrior that prefers to be in these kind of situations. Let's watch a man go at work here as he picks his way through the field.
Well, there was that crossover that I was speaking of, but it just doesn't look like that line has developed as they go towards the rollers. Now, Webster's been doing almost a manual version through here too. They're keeping that front wheel up off the ground and just wheeling through, keeping that drive. That lap not so much, but it's really good when they can get a lot of drive going into there. Oh, the pressure on Budd, he's feeling it, and Webster just like that.
Yeah, that was the pressure.
Yeah, this pressure just made that small mistake, and that line up the inside, it looks smooth there.
Well, the thing is, you're talking about quite possibly, look, let's forget about Regan Duffy for a second. You're talking about the best sand rider in the country, right? He's just incredible. So what he's done is he picks the roughest line that's the shortest distance. To him, that's a walk in the park compared to what he's used to dealing with in Western Australia. Yep. So he just holds it absolutely wedged to the stopper and takes the shortest distance, then cuts across to that inside. Certainly now has got his sights set on Dylan Wills, who's managed to edge out a little bit of a lead now. I think Reese Budd might have just pumped up ever so slightly, but we're getting down. We're at the 5-minute mark now. He's got a couple of seconds. He's got to get back now on Dylan Wills, who's got the bit between his teeth.
Wills is going to have to put the effort in right now if he wants to stay in that position. But I don't see him going back much further than 5th. If Webster catches up to him, I think he's going to be able to maintain that, but Webster is flying at the moment. As we see them go to the centre part of the track through Thor Corner. And there is Wills, who just got a glimpse of him as they went through that turn down this very fast straight across those tabletops. And this could be the difference here. There's obviously a couple of different lines by Webster as they go through this part of the track. So Webster might have something up his sleeve that not many riders are seeing at the moment. One rider down there.
Very precarious position on the side of the track there.
101.
Yeah.
Jaden Bowden. So we've seen a lot of crashes on that one corner. Not somewhere that you generally expect to see people going down so much. As we have 4 minutes and 42 seconds left. As we take a look at the replay, just look on the right-hand side, just front wheel tucked coming through.
Wow, and how lucky was Jai Constantino to miss. He just made his own little gap there in between. So now, Danny, just done some maths here. We're figuring it out. If we can get Kyle Webster can somehow make a pass on Dylan Wills and move up into 4th place.
That's likely.
He will win the overall by 1 point because there were 2 positions separating Kyle Webster from Jesse Dobson in the first moto, and there'll be likewise in this one. The only difference is when you win that first moto, you've got that extra point up your sleeve. Kyle Webster must make this pass to get the win if the positions stay the same. If Dobson remains in 2nd place, he's got to get past Dylan Wills.
You know what, for someone that has been so dominant and the championship lead is his, he's got a huge lead, he doesn't need to do it.
No, he doesn't. But he wants to win.
I know he wants to win 100%, but you know, the big picture, you talk about big picture, he loses a single point on the day where he's had a bad start, had to come from deep in the pack.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn good.
I know. Look, but when you're that proud, when you're riding this well, it's one thing to break your streak of moto wins. It's another thing to break your streak of overall wins.
Look at this. They are just closed on the back wheel of Jay Wilson.
So that just goes to show the ride from Dylan Wills. I cannot overstate this enough how impressive this is.
Well, last lap around was a 54 by Jay Wilson, 52 for Dylan Wills, and 51 for Webster. So this place right here is going to erupt in the next lap or two.
We've got enough time. There's 2 minutes 52 and plus a lap. We've got time.
Yep.
You just can't afford any of these key players here in these 3 positions.
There's 3 laps in it.
You can have little mistakes like that, a little dab of the foot. You can't have a stall or a tip over.
Oh, big move up the inside there by Webster. He really tipped it into that corner. Mistake coming out of it now. If he does too many of them, that will slow down that momentum moving forwards. He really, although needs to push hard, he needs to still maintain that mental strength and not override that bike too much, because it can slow you down and can create these mistakes.
Nice line up the inside from Kyle Webster.
He's still there.
Yeah, no doubt Dylan Wills will start to feel the pressure of that red plate. It's bad enough having anyone behind you, but when you've got someone with the red plate and the kind of aggression and intensity that Kyle Webster rides with, you can hear that, you can feel that.
Around the outside, we've seen so many passes made here. Oh, Webster, the back wheel stepping out.
And a mistake from Dylan Wills on the inside. That was close. Oh, and another little step out.
We may still see this pass happen down this next straight if he is right there on the back wheel. He tries to find some new real estate up the inside. Does Webster right on the edge of the track. He actually had to turn back onto the track. He was so tight.
That was interesting to see. I could spot from that very close camera work that Kyle Webster's foot peg was still quite a bit up. Must have been jammed up from him tipping it in so hard. I wonder if that's what caused him to just drop back a little bit. Didn't seem noticeably kick down the foot peg at all. But this changing of momentum here, you've seen Willsy pull back out again. There's 1 minute left on the clock. There's only so many bites of the cherry or little stabs at it that you can have before you're unsuccessful. He's only got 1 or 2 more goes at it. There's that kicker again. It's so nasty, that entry into that corner.
You see the mud dropping off the bottom of the pegs there, and Wills now no longer...
Oh, had to change lines at the last minute, and that's allowed Kyle Webster right onto the back.
Well, I was just about to say that Wills didn't have to think about Webster anymore, and his focus was on Wilson in front of him. But again, that has changed. And now we see Wills trying to defend off a huge charge here by Webster with 2 laps to go.
Jay Wilson coming through on the Yamaha Yamalu machine. Dylan Wills on the Husky under extreme pressure from that factory Honda of Kyle Webster. That red plate bearing down.
It's going to come down to some lap riders as well. Oh, big slide out there by Wills. This could be the difference going into this corner. They're so close. Inside, outside lines. Watch for the fly around the outside, but he has to do it clean if he's going to do it.
Yeah, this is exactly the same as the last lap, except this time he comes out next to him and holds it wedged around the outside. Stays low. It's going to play into Webster's favour here. A nice little boot.
And this battle is close.
Nearly goes high. And nearly takes out the front wheel of Dylan Wills unintentionally, but puts himself into a position where currently he will get the overall on the day. He needs to hold that line there. Dylan Wills is not going to give it up. Let's watch this replay here as we go into the right-hander. We'll see Kyle Webster controls the inside, cops a kick. That's enough to rattle him a little bit, gets to this rut and almost high sides. That could have very easily been a crash.
There was a good move by Wills to see that one coming as well. Unfortunate for him, but we've completely forgotten about this guy out in front. He is blitzing it at the moment. The 199 of Crawford. A little bit of evasive manoeuvres there to avoid that lap rider. But he will come around this time and receive the last lap board. And you know how ecstatic he is going to be if he can close this one out for 1 more lap. The last lap board on display for the Serco Yamaha rider, 199 Nathan Crawford. There will be Dobson coming over, just ticked over the line, 5.1 seconds behind him. As they enter into the last lap, Webster and Wills, 0.8 Webster and Wills. Wills has not given up just yet.
Well, I know you would say normally ecstatic, you would think, so let's talk about it. Nathan Crawford, he's just come off a DNF, so to win for someone the calibre of Crawford, it'd be bittersweet. Wouldn't think it'd be too ecstatic, but in a season like 2021, where Kyle Webster has just seemed unstoppable, he will be ecstatic
so,
to be able to take a moto off Kyle Webster. But how about the charge from as far back as he was to be able to come through and put himself into a position now? Webster needs to just be mindful that he currently sits in the overall position here. He doesn't want to put the bike down and lose that overall because he's trying to get another position that he doesn't necessarily need. But try slowing Kyle Webster down. That's no mean feat, that's for sure.
As a rider, and you know yourself, it's very hard to actually know when the riders have been so all over the place with their points and their placings. I'm sure he might have got the information on the board, but there's a chance he doesn't know that he's in that winning overall position for the day. So he's still mindset. He needs to get Jay Wilson. He needs to make one more place so he can put that towards the championship bid. And right now he's throwing absolutely everything at him as we try and see the last couple of turns. Our race leader should almost be at the finish line in front of these guys. So
another rider that we haven't really spoken about is Jesse Dobson, who's done such a fantastic job and almost been the one to take the overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're exactly right, Hammy. Let's follow him through as he comes around the final corner. What a sensational bounce back from a DNF in Moto 1. Nathan Crawford takes victory here and a big fist pump, one-hander, taking Moto 2. And what a way to throw it down.
So ecstatic?
Ecstatic?
Yes,
Let's say
so.
ecstatic. Taking Moto 2 of the MX2, brought to you by Pirelli. As we're trying to come through, we've got to call the overall here. Dobson, no doubt, would have already come through. He's 3.9 seconds back, and then Wilson and Webster was only 1 second back. So really, not too far behind was that top four, and Dylan Wills in only 0.4 of a second back in 5th place. So the overall will go to factory Honda rider Kyle Webster. A sensational job, but a lot of pats on the back to be given for a bunch of different situations. Nathan Crawford getting that win. What a fantastic ride from Jesse Dobson to ever so close to the overall win. And Kyle Webster keeping that win streak alive, not motos, but overalls.
And you think third place, Jay Wilson stepped it up. He matched his fastest lap time of the race on that very last lap.
The only one a little bit of a bummer, when I say bummer, someone like Reese Budd, 6th place is not too bad for Reese, but when you consider he was 2nd in championship, 2nd in Moto 1, he was the one that maybe should have been in there trying to get that first ever MX2 overall. But what a fantastic job and a great bounce back for the Serco Yamaha team. It would be gutted in between Moto 1 and 2.
Yeah, that disappointment flows right through the whole team, doesn't it, Lee? It's not just the rider. You can see it on the face of Crawford.
Like I said to you, ecstatic,
super pumped and so
bittersweet.
annoyed.
A little bit bittersweet. All right, let's take a look at the Pirelli results. MX2, Moto 2, Nathan Crawford. Hats off to you. What a sensational bounce back. Jesse Dobson, 2nd place in the race and will be 2nd overall. Jay Wilson rounding out the top 3.
Kyle Webster did do a great comeback all the way through to 4th. Dylan Wills with his best race of the year.
Fantastic.
Brilliant ride. Reese Budd, Noah Ferguson, Jay Constantino, Jace Cosford, and Corey McMahon in 10th place.
Yeah, 8th place, Constantino with his bounce back ride from a privates here. Great job. Liam Andrews, Ferguson, Ravenhorse, Roberts in the top 14. Chandler Burns rounding out the top 15. That's a highlight for him.
Really good racing, especially when we get to see that kind of level of racing. Don't go anywhere though, we are going to take a quick break and we'll be back soon with our other races.
Thank you. I don't know if you're annoyed or okay with it.
No, it's just...
In general?
Yeah.
No, I meant at the end. Your celebration.
Oh yeah, no, I was pumped.
Riding in anger.
Pretty much.
Best way to bounce back. What you tell me what you want me to do. I've got the... Yep. Yep, you want me to do 1, 2, 3 for the race and then grab him? Okay, yep.
Race.
Sorry, we just missed another break. Are you out tonight?
Something about maybe maybe something 6 points.
Yeah. Well, I just checked the last one. You're on the jet stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's still there.
Good. Yeah.
I just checked.
Why is my screen live?
Welcome back to the Penrite Oils ProMX Motocross Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. We're here at round 4, Maitland, New South Wales. What a race and what a win by Nathan Crawford. And of course, the overall fantastic by Kyle Webster. We're about to go down to Rihanna, who's with our winners.
Yeah, time now for the podium for the Pirelli MX2 Moto 2 here in Maitland, taking out the victory on the Serco Yamaha. Nathan Crawford, talk about riding in anger. You certainly wanted to get that victory done today.
Yeah, I got got beat down this morning a little bit, which sucked. I feel like it's cost me another, maybe an overall today, or at least another podium. So yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow, and you know, I kind of had nothing else to do but go out and try and win. And pretty pumped to be the only rider to stop Kyle from winning. And yeah, just need to somehow stop this first moto thing happening to me, and I think I'll be on top of the box soon.
Yeah, it's certainly good to see you on the podium. Taking out second place on the podium on the Yamaha also is Jesse Dobson. Jesse, you certainly had to work for today's race.
Yeah, it was definitely tough out there. I felt like the boys were all sending it. So, but you know, we come out of this one with some good points, and I can't thank my whole team enough, the Serco Yamaha team. You know, everyone that supports me, Pingelli Trucks, Street Race Solutions, Waterwise Plumbing, and then you know, I'd like to dedicate this podium to a good friend of mine that passed a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago. So this is for him, and yeah, thanks to everyone else that supports me. So.
Really lovely words from you, Jesse Dobson. And rounding out the podium on the Yamaha, Jay Wilson. Jay, congratulations. Awesome riding out there.
Yeah, we're definitely improving, that's for sure. It's another step in the right direction. Canberra was the same. You know, we're on the podium there. We're on the podium again this weekend. So it's good. I can't believe we're actually racing this weekend. I mean, a lot of athletes are missing out, obviously because of the border restrictions, and I feel sorry for them. So a big shout out to those guys that are stuck at home at the moment and missing out on a fair championship. But a big shout out to my friends and family and my team back in New Zealand. My wife and daughter are back in New Zealand at the moment, so not sure what's going to happen over the next few weeks, whether I'll get back there or not, but a big shout out to Josh Coppins, Ben Townley, everybody over there that's been supporting me and getting me back up on top, and also my home team, Yamalube Yamaha Racing Team. They're putting in a big effort back here, and it's good to be back up on the podium and fighting for podiums at least at the moment. So
really nice words there from Jay. Congratulations to our 3 podium place getters for Moto 2, Nathan Crawford, Jesse Dobson and Jay Wilson.
Yeah, terrific job there by Nathan Crawford, and a little bit of an emotional Jay Wilson there, as you would imagine. Let's take a look at the championship points here for the Pirelli MX2. Kyle Webster on 143, stretching that lead out again over Jesse Dobson in second place at 109.
Spud also up there, 106. He has fallen back just a little bit. Jay Wilson has improved his position at fraction. Nathan Crawford just needs to get a bit of luck his way, and he can definitely gain a few more points up there to maybe run in the top, second or third. Hopefully he can get it all sorted out for the next round.
Noah Ferguson back there, 79 points, and Jace Cosford on 63. Isaac Ferguson and Corey McMahon rounding out the top 10. All right, let's go back to Ree, who's got our winner. What a crazy, ecstatic day. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, Kyle Webster taking out the overall by 1 point here this weekend. I sort of sense a bit of, sort of happiness, but also a bit of disappointment as well with that one.
Yeah, definitely. I just made a silly mistake there on the first lap. I took a right I probably shouldn't have, and yeah, it had a big hole in it. It really caught me out. But I felt like I gave it everything to get back to where I got to. I think it was 4th in the end, and I was a long way back. So it was good, and I was track marking everybody while I was coming through, and I definitely had the pace, which was good. So just that silly mistake on my behalf really cost me, and well, I should say I still got the overall today, so I'm stoked on that, but I'm just disappointed from that little mistake. It really bummed me out a bit.
Were you aware how close that overall was? Only a couple of points?
Oh, I had a rough idea in my mind, and I wasn't even really thinking about that, to be honest. I was just trying to move forward in the race, and I sort of was thinking, like, if I get far enough forward, it'll be pretty close. So yeah, that wasn't really running through my head too much, I guess, until the end. But yeah, I suppose I managed to get up there, and I'm stoked with that.
Boys, he still sits at the top of the championship title, Kyle Webster, but Nathan Crawford has been the only man to get ahead of Kyle Webster this season.
Wow, Kyle Webster, you should still be incredibly proud, and an overall victory here today in the MX2. All right, let's take a quick look at the rivalry package of the MX1 category.
Yamaha, KTM, Clout, Duffy. Each of these riders have 1 round victory next to their name. But what they both want is to walk away from Maitland with this red plate.
Yeah, look, we're in Maitland now, and all those guys, they're in my backyard here now, so I'm ready to go out there and win. I'm ready to do a 1-1, and that's what I train for, so bring it on.
I don't think so. I think I've come here to win, so we're just going to have to see how it plays out on Sunday.
Look, the last time we come here I won, and I plan on keeping that record going, so I like these tracks. It's I guess you wouldn't say a home track, but it's close to home for me. Gonna have family, friends, and everyone here, so for me it's nothing short of winning. We went back to Mandurah a couple of weeks ago, and Luke ended up getting the win there, so that hurt me a little bit. I'm definitely out for redemption. I won in their backyard, and I just don't think people liked it. That's just plain and simple. There was words said, not on my part, on other people's part. They can say what they want, but history books, look at them. No, I think there was a little bit of rivalry there. It was sort of trying to alpha dog each other discreetly, but yeah, I don't know. He came out on top, so I can't really say much more about it, to be honest. The ultimate goal is to win the championship, so I've been training my ass off for that pretty much, so nothing short of that. I think I'd be pretty disappointed if I didn't get the championship. I don't train to come second, I train to win, so yeah, I'm just planning on putting that in motion all year long. If it's a last turn move, and Regan made some attempts at managing him up to put me on the ground, so I feel like Luke would run me off the track, and I would do the same to him. If he wants to play that game, I'll play that game. If it came down to it, yeah, I'm willing to trade colours a little bit there. If it comes down to making a move to do that to win, I'll be doing it. That red plate's mine, and I'm keeping it all year, so sorry, Luke.
The sun is shining here at Maitland for round 4 of the Penrite Oils Pro MX Championship, brought to you by AMX Superstores MX1. It is the business end of the day, Danny Ham. We can't wait to get into it. And there is the red plate, number 72. Now let's take a look at the highlights from Moto 1. And what a jump out of the gate from Kirk Gibbs on the CRF 450 and a clear pole shot. However, out of the first turn, Luke Clout took that very early lead. We had quite a few riders going down. Matt Moss in the early stages had plenty of speed. However, that 35-minute moto managed to take care of him a little bit. I think we can expect to see things from him in these back-to-backs.
Moss definitely is going to have all of that speed in the early part of these races. So he'll be up there for sure, but they're going to have to work very hard if they want to catch up to Cloud. One of these things that I want to bring up is right there, Todd Waters found his game at the end of the long race, as to Regan Duffy. They don't have that time in this one. We are doing 2 motos back-to-back. It's a sprint race. We don't have that luxury anymore of making our way through to the front off a bad start. So, importance once again on getting a good start. That guy did it last time around. Can he do it again? Will they falter on the concrete, get too excited and just burn up those back wheels trying to get off the line? It takes a lot of control to make sure you drive off with the right amount of throttle and the right amount of clutch.
Well, Luke Clout with a sensational win and keeping his momentum going in Moto 1. Gibbsy, very, very impressive with that good start out of the gate and also a solid second placing. Let's have a look at the Thor lineup for the MX1 category Moto 2. Clout, Gibbs, Waters, Moss, Tanti. We've got Duffy, Melross, Purvis, Brett Metcalf and Lockie Latimer.
Yep, Jake Moss out there as well, Judd Dixon, Whiteman. There is so many fast riders out there. But again, what we want to point out is that if these guys get too excited at this point and they dump the clutch too hard, they're simply going to spin on that start. So, real important to keep them nerves down, making sure they do their start perfectly. They'll sit up. Remember, these bikes have got so much more power than the rest of the field when they get on this one. And they are down already.
Another good start from Kirk Gibbs.
But Duffy, I saw Duffy had a good start as well.
Yes, he has. And Gibbsy, Duffy will be on the inside, so he's going to be somewhere in the top 3. Clout just manages to do something good. Is that Tanti that we've also got up there that's going to be neck and neck with Duffy? And I believe who is going to be able to hold on to that 3rd spot there. But very impressive from Kirk Gibbs, who's really stamped his position here in that pointy end of the field in MX1. A rider gone down there, number 162. Unfortunately for him, that's not what you want to be doing on lap 1 when you get relegated right the way to the back of the pack.
There was Melross having a slide out in the corner there, just getting onto the throttle just a little bit too hard. These shadows now coming into play as well. You can see the dark and light areas. Makes it very hard, especially through here, to see the edges of those ruts. Now, if you're going to talk about sprint laps, my money is on Luke Clout. Simply, he loves getting out there and doing those fast laps straight up. The 100% whole shot award does go to Luke Clout. I didn't pick him out of the launch, but he managed to get there through the first turn.
Now, just to explain to our viewers at home, this format here for the second moto is back-to-back races. We don't have the traditional 30 minutes plus a lap. We've got 2 13-minute motos plus a lap. It's going to play into the favour not only of the riders that are, say, not quite as fit, but the ones that got a good start in this one. If you got a bad start or you have a crash in that early part of the race, almost impossible to come through the pack.
Well, I did see Waters was actually off the side of the tabletop as we went through turn number 1. So he manages to hold himself up there in 6th place at the moment. He sits in there behind Brett Metcalf, the Honda rider, just in front of Hayden Melross as our boys knocked down 1 lap. And already we've only got 10 minutes to go. And we see that our leader has clocked out a 1.6-second lead already.
Straight away, pulled just that little bit of a gap on Gibbsy, who is straight away quite possibly the 2nd fastest on the day today, unless Regan Duffy can somehow pull something out of the bag, but he's not all over the back of Tanti trying to make a pass.
Not at the moment.
Early stage of the race is where things can go wrong, and if you're in there in the championship hunt, as we see a couple of riders have gone down, looks to be rider number 10 we can try to pick up there. That's Levi McManus. And just trying to pick up...
It's Moss, Jake Moss.
Jake Moss has gone down. So Very unfortunate for him.
Hey, I want to bring up the fact that Tanti is riding really, really strong. And off the side there of
Gibbsy has dropped back. So we've had a shuffle around
Tanti
there.
has just made the pass. But did you see just off the side of Gibbsy's bike, it looked like the radiator shroud was flapping, or if it might have been just a crack, it just seemed like something wasn't quite right there as well.
I didn't notice that, but yeah, quite clearly, I think it's more so rather than Tanti making the pass. I think something must have happened to Gibbsy, because all of a sudden he dropped back straight into the clutches of Regan Duffy. So a sneaky little look over the shoulder from Luke Clout to see, all right, where is everyone? Who do I have behind me? Am I under any threat over the next couple of laps? Because that can really help you settle down.
Look at that. Oh! Even then, Duffy, big mistake going into that
I was going to make comment on that in the last lap. There is an enormous hook in the first part of that corner that you cannot just jump out to the inside. Obviously a mistake, and a costly mistake there by Duffy.
9 minutes left to go in the first of these two back-to-back motos. There is Duffy. He didn't drop back too far, but have a look at this. Keep your eye on Duffy on the 72 machine. Just a little unsettled coming into the corner.
Here. Boom.
Yeah, just it almost looked like it gave way a fraction in that mid part of the corner, that rut. So lucky to get away with that one as smoothly as you did. But, you know, that momentum can be easily taken away from you when you have these little moments, I guess you could say. Again, just there, you know, wasn't as smooth as you'd like. And that momentum that you had if you were running forward can be taken away rather quickly.
There's one thing that you do notice with Regan Duffy compared to some of the seasoned veteran hard-pack riders, being a Western Australian and as good as he is in the sand, sometimes if you watch closely, he hangs off the back of the bike just that little bit. Now in these hard-pack sections where it can get a little bit choppy, when you get too far off the back and it unweights that front wheel, it can become a little bit skatey. He's getting better and better all the time. Look, he's one of the best hard-pack riders in the country as well. But he's going to continue working on getting a little bit more weight on that front wheel to try to keep a little bit more traction on these hard-pack tracks.
Oh, Duffy, nice drive out of there that time around.
That's his bread and butter right there.
Keeping the back wheel on the ground, maximising that drive, but pushed over in that corner. Now, I've confirmed, but I can't see it.
Make the call.
Yeah, Honda, the Gibbs machine, the radiator, bottom bolt of that shroud has come out. Now, whether that was a bump by Tanti or maybe a tip over too far in the corner.
You know what it could be? When these riders, when they're that good at ruts,
tipping it over so hard.
Quite often the radiator shroud does a bit of shoveling, shall we say, and it could have quite easily have popped it out just from railing a corner. You can see the insides of these corners are really built up quite a bit.
There is Duffy on the 72 machine, still holding strong at the moment with Metcalf.
Much stronger rider from Metcalf this time.
Yeah, he looks a lot better now. I spoke to Yuriv Konski between the races. He said, hey, what's the mindset with Metcalf? And he said, yeah, look, he's fine. It's just he takes too long to get going, you know, and that's all good for a long moto, but these short ones, especially now, the sprint laps, you just got to get going from the start.
Now, I know, Danny, we spoke about it briefly earlier on during the live streaming, but just wanted to touch on, from a Honda perspective, we want to give best wishes to a big Honda favourite from the road racing, the ASBK point of view, Troy Herfoss, an absolute superstar in Australian road racing, had a huge crash at Darwin recently, and of course, some injuries that consisted of a compound fracture of the humerus upper arm and a nasty break of the femur up near the ball and socket joint going into the hip. So surgery immediately. He's in a good frame of mind. It's going to be a long haul back, and from all of us, want to wish him the best.
As we see our riders blast their way through these whoops once again, let's head down to Rihanna, who is with Craig Dack.
Yeah, just wanted to get a quick update from Craig. Craig, we're much different conditions this afternoon than what we had earlier in the day. Just talk us through how that affects the track.
Well, the sun's a bit lower in the afternoon, so it casts a lot of shadows from the trees and on the other side of bumps and ruts, so it's hard to see the definition. It's definitely gone to a hard track now, and we anticipated that and went to hard track tyres, but I'm pretty impressed with Luke, that's for sure.
You certainly are doing exceptional things at the moment. We don't want to talk too soon, but things are looking good.
No, you never count your chickens, but very happy so far, and it's been a brilliant weekend with the club and everybody getting together under the circumstances.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, great grab there, Rihanna. And I must say, from a point of view, that Craig Duck was my team manager many, many moons ago, way long ago in the dinosaur ages, shall we say. I must give credit where it's due. Ducker is such a relaxed team manager now. He doesn't micromanage or try to do roles. It's not his. He's got mechanics, he's got technicians, and all the people that are supposed to do their thing. He steps back and he does what he's supposed to do, which is manage the team. And just even talking to him then, he's got a wealth of knowledge, and just to hear him talk, when he does, on the very odd occasion, speak out to the riders, they listen. You know, he's got the credentials, and we're very lucky to have him in the sport.
Another good ride here by Hayden Melross on the 45 machine, the Craig Duck rider. He is still managing to hold off Maximus Purvis. Now, Purvis had a good ride also in the first race as they go through Dunlop Turn here, but he seemed to drop off the back. I don't know what happened there. He just seemed to disappear, so much better this time around. Still managing to hang strong right in there behind Hayden Melross, and they are not far off the back wheel of Todd Waters either. Waters very strong in the first race, and he just hasn't been able to find it in this one, as we see Kirk Gibbs there struggling up the inside, a big dab of the foot. He's starting to feel that pressure from the 72 machine.
Yeah, and Regan Duffy here mounting all kinds of a challenge to the back of Kirk Gibbs once again. He's just relentless. He has learned from that mistake in the corner and did it exceptionally well. He's all over the back of the Honda rider, and they are exceptionally close to Tanti. So really, it's just Luke Clout who, I have to say, once again, kind of similar to Kyle Webster in the first of the...
Big dive up the inside there by
Duffy.
Duffy, that was a bit of a rookie mistake. I didn't see the entry into it. Maybe he got kicked, but he came into that way too hot. It was almost like he was doing a big dive, thinking he was going to make the other rider back out of that pass.
Wow.
And, yeah, just dove the front wheel into there.
You cannot do that in a 13+ a lap race.
Not at all. Now he sits in there behind Brett Metcalf, only just in front of Todd Waters. The best he's going to do is get himself back up one position.
Back up to 4th place where he was before. And look at, he's all over the back of him.
Have a look on the right. Look on the right as we come into this corner. Oh, it just loses the front going into it.
Yeah, well, he was like right next to Gibbsy, though. That was just like a battle of wheels to see. It was like playing chicken going into a corner.
Oh, there's Tanti, man. He has not dropped off that far from our lead rider. Now, last lap around, our lead rider.
Yep.
Yeah, our lead rider did a 151.3. That lap for second and third, both 150.6. So 1.3 seconds faster for both of these riders on that last lap. Now, that's going to probably come down to the fact that he is starting to experience some lapped riders. That would be Clout, and he's just trying to make his way through that. So it's a little bit of time lost to him. Still comfortable, though. 3 seconds lead.
Yeah, it's comfy, and that's what I was about to make mention before. It looks like not much, but when you're riding like Luke Clout is at the moment and you're having the odd look over your shoulder, you can see he's doing it comfortably, right? You almost think he's got a little bit more up his sleeve if need be. You don't need to, on a track like this where we've seen so many mistakes, you don't need to push the envelope, try to get it out to an 8-second lead or whatever. Let's remember how short this race is. A win's a win. Doesn't matter if it's 0.2 of a second or if it's a 50-second win like Tomac back in the day. It doesn't matter. Win's a win. It's the same amount of points, and he's looking exceptionally comfortable at the moment, that's for sure. As Tanti tips it into the AMX Superstores corner, let's just quickly mention one of our biggest sponsors, of course, naming rights sponsor. They're about to open up another store in your neck of the woods, Danny Ham. Later on in the year, September, they're opening up in Glendale. So it's good news for you, mate.
18th store. It's a big effort, isn't it, to get that many stores out there. But I'm really impressed with Tanti in this race. He had a solid first moto as well, but just at the end there, just dropped off the pace a little bit. Whether that was, you know, maybe just tightening up a little bit, or whether he's out of breath. He hasn't come into, before this race, he hasn't come into any of the rounds at 100%. Injury before round 2, having a fingernail removed and then racing on it only 2 days later. This one he's come into it at a much better preparation and is showing right now he's riding exceptional right now.
Well, as we've just ticked over the 1 minute to go mark before we'll get the last lap board to come out, everything's stabilised a little bit at the head of the pack. So Luke Clout at 151.4, stretched out just a tad over Tanti, who likewise with a 152 flat has stretched out 0.8 of a second over Gibbs's last lap. Duffy has made his way back past, back into 4th place ahead of Brett Metcalf. No harm, no foul too much, but hopefully lesson learned for the next race. Let's not try to throw it in quite that hard when there's so much to be lost potentially. You got to think, imagine you do something that's terminal for the bike. It might not hurt your body. You
Yes.
might not get any points. That's very bad for the red plate.
And you've got to remember that he was challenging these two. He potentially could have got second place in this race. Out of the question now. We are only, well, it's about to run out of time, so this is the second last lap right now for these guys. Just catching him in the background there of that last shot, and we did see that they are pretty close, that being Metcalf, Waters and Melross. But there is only a couple of laps to go in this one. There is Luke Clout still running away with it.
And Ham, you can just quickly make mention, we have a look at Regan Duffy, who holds the championship points lead at 85 points, quite substantially over 78 points with Todd Waters. When you consider that, yeah, he's made a couple of little mistakes. Hayden Melross is third in the championship, so he's going to extend his lead over both of those. Not the best day so far. He's still got another one of these back-to-backs to make up, but he's still quite a ways ahead of his two main arch rivals.
Yeah, this is a good battle heating up here. It's the tail end of this race. There is Melross up the inside of Waters, and they are also on the back wheel of Metcalf over this last
Second and third in the championship right there. So they need to, they're looking at big picture right there.
Diving down into the inside, all the riders using the same line. Can't make any passes there, but a mistake though by Melross. Can Purvis make the pass? Indeed, he goes around the outside, but he won't control this next corner. He's really trying hard. Oh! He's done well there to hold that one, and Melross did what he could to try and get that one back, but it was not going to work at that position going into that turn. So Maximus Purvis moves up one more position and now sits onto the back wheel of Todd Waters as we see our lead rider, number 4, CDR Yamaha, Monster Energy Yamaha, coming up to the finish line to collect the last lap board this time around.
Yeah, one lap to go for Luke Clout. When you're on a day like this, and you know what it's like someone's grabbed the remote control and pushed the slow motion button, right? And I don't mean that he's going slow, I mean in his head, it's like everything's slowed down and he's got so much time to pick and choose lines. So you very rarely get caught in the wrong position. If a rider in front of you makes a mistake and has a crash, you see it a long time before it happens. You can make your choices. It's when things are going pear-shaped, it's like someone's pushed the fast forward button and everything goes crazy and you're going to run into that person who makes a mistake. So today, Clout's having one of those days, like that slow-mo's going on and he's making good choices, and you can see from how mindful he is, having a quick look over his shoulder, he's assessing where his competition is. This track, this is bread and butter, he loves this stuff, it's like his backyard, so I think we can dare say we'll see a little bit more of this from him as we've got a brief gap in between these two back-to-back races, coming over, looking exceptionally good, nice and clean, and in both of the races so far today, he hasn't got to the first turn in first place, he always comes out in first place. He's making magic happen in that first turn.
Half a lap to go in this one as he negotiates his way through to these rollers. The number 4 machine is looking very good and comfortable, smooth, very calculated as he goes through Pirelli turn right there. Luke Clout, quick look over his shoulder again, knowing he doesn't have to push it too hard, but every time he looks over, he is seeing that number 9 machine who is on the outside there. Yeah. It's not that far back, but he is able to manage, control this one through the Max's turn for the last time in this race, and it is going to be another win for this rider. The CDR Monster Energy Yamaha rider, number 4, Luke Clout, takes the win on part 1.
Have a look right there, literally right there. Massive props to Aaron Tandy and the Gas team for an incredible ride right there. It's taking it right down to the wire, good, consistent, no mistakes, fantastic. Gibbsy holds on that factory CRF Honda machine for 3rd place and continues his great run after 2nd place in Moto 1. So he puts himself in a great position, does Gibbsy, for a good podium spot. And then we look back to Regan Duffy, who managed to get up to 4th place. Todd Waters will round out the top 5. Clout's already in, helmet off. He looks nice and clean, like he's just got into a new set of riding gear already.
I don't think anyone threw any dirt at him through that race. He was able to manoeuvre his way around anything that might have came his way. As we just see the rest of the riders come in now, vital that they get back and just have a quick break so that they can get ready for that next moto, which won't be too long, so stick around. We will come back for the second part of the MX1 Moto 2.
How many minutes have we got here? Can I run to the toilet before I pee my pants? How long? 2 minutes, cool, no worries. Oh.
Welcome back to the Penrite ProMX Motocross Championships here at Maitland Round 4. We have had a sensational Part 1 to our MX1. The bikes are down there and the riders getting set for the second one. Let's head down to Rihanna and see what's happening. I'm sorry, we're going to have a look at our results, I should say. My apologies. First of the Part 1. It was Luke Cloud that did take the win out of that one. Aaron Tanti, of course, did get second. Gibbs, Duffy, Waters, Metcalf, Melross, Purvis, and Moss was there in 9th place. Let's head down to Rihanna for a quick update.
Yeah, just how good is this, having this 10-minute break? The crowd can really have a look at what goes on with, in this in-between break. But Aaron Tanti, fantastic result in that first part of that moto, finishing up in 2nd place.
Yeah, it felt good to finally get an upfront result. Like, it's my second national on the 450, so to be up the front was really good. Now I just got to do it again in this next one and hopefully, you know, get some solid points and move myself up the order.
It's been a little interrupted, your season, a couple of injuries. How's the body?
Yeah, it's healing up. I'm just trying to catch up to all these boys with the race fitness now, but I'm getting stronger and stronger each week, so looking forward to the next round as well.
See how you go. Good luck out there, Aaron. Let's see if we can get in touch with a couple of more other riders as they head back behind the starting gates. Really good job by Maximus Purvis, finishing in the top 10 for that first part of the moto. Obviously, Regan Duffy had a tough one there. He finished 4th, but if he finishes any further back than 4th and Luke Clout wins this second part of this moto, oh, tripping over there, it is going to be a championship lead change for Luke Clout. So he'll certainly have that on his mind, and Regan Duffy will certainly be looking out to get further up the field. Kurt Gibbs, just before you hop back on your bike there, fantastic result in that first part.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed. I pretty much got the whole shot there, and then a couple of boys got around me early. So in these sprint races, yeah, it's obviously good to get away early. So need to work on that one for this.
And just a quick update on the track conditions.
Tough. It's very, very slippery and a lot of throttle control. So yeah, it's making it tough, and yeah, hopefully we can put a nice one together this last one.
Good luck.
Well, we'll touch on just exactly what he just said there. These bikes here push out around about 60 horsepower, where you can see the hard, slick, shiny parts of this track. It is very, very slippery. You would think with the amount of ripping this track did receive earlier on today, that we'd have a much tackier, loamy, grippy sort of surface. But there is parts of the track like that. There is a lot more that's probably a lot slipperier. And these bikes, no traction control. It's all about the throttle. If you are too hard on it, which we've seen plenty of times, the back end steps out and then it just throws you completely off balance. Let's go back down to Rihanna.
Yeah, plenty of work getting done in between these first half of these motos. Plenty of work as well getting done to the goggles. It's a very important part of these riders and what they need to do. So let's check out more about the goggles.
Well, goggles are super important, and vision, of course, one of the most important factors in motocross, without a doubt. And what we've got here, we've got a couple of our crash test dummies either side of me. These absolute legends. We're going to be putting them to the test in a second. We've got Jesse Dobson on this side of me. He's running the 100% goggles. He's running the roll-off system. And to my right, we've got Hayden Melross running the Oakleys. He's choosing the tear-offs. So just quickly going to ask, Hayden, why do you prefer the tear-off system as opposed to roll-offs?
So with the tear-off systems, I'm fortunate enough with Oakley to do laminates. So with the laminates, you can run 7, 14, and they come in a pack. So opposed to putting 1 and 2 individual tear-offs on at once, you can put them all on together. This helps if it's misty, if it's raining, a little bit of dew, even the dirt. It stops and eliminates them getting in between the tear-offs themselves. So you'd never really run into any issues at all with vision. So that's my personal preference and why I love the tear-offs.
All right, now we've got Jesse to my left here, and he's running 100% roll-offs. And Jesse, tell us about your roll-off system and why you prefer that.
So with 100%, they got a really neat roll-off system on the new goggles, and I prefer these goggles in a wet and rainy kind of situation. They got a really nice mud flap across the top, and instead of the tear-offs, they have 2 rolls in one side and then another film in the other side. And as you pull the string, the film will slide across the lens, and I find that with that, I can have a longer duration of clear vision with the rolls. I believe that 100% do the best one out there, so that's why I like that.
Okay, well, both these boys are used to copping a bit of roost on the track. So we've got a little bit of a cool thing we're going to do here and see how they deal with roost standing here on the track. All right, guys, well, we've done our homework. We've recruited our expert mudslingers, and it's time to see what comes out on top, tear-offs or roll-offs. Before that happens, I am about to exit stage left, so hang on 2 secs, guys. Let's have a little bit of a look. We need to make a verdict here. Jesse, let me see. You got a little bit of a drop hanging down, and yeah, the vision's not too bad. Oh, perfectly clear. For my vote, I'm going with the tear-offs. However, if we had a few more throws involved, I think the roll-offs would come out on top. I'm going to call it even, Stephen. Good job, boys.
Well, Lee Hogan, in the mix of it always, aren't you? Always down there having some fun with these riders. And it is a good thing, isn't it? The roll-off systems and the tear-offs have all evolved quite a lot. As we see Matt Ross's bike being pushed away. Not 100% sure exactly what went on there. As we go quickly, we are getting set for the start of this race. I'm sure Rihanna will get to the bottom of that in just a moment. But let's check out the second part of this one. Remember, these guys need to be careful with the throttle going off the start here. The tyres are warmed up. The bikes are ready. They are jumping forward. The weight is back. Who will launch out off the start on the final race of the day?
Gibbsy again, another great jump. And he's going to, Luke Cloud's going to try to slot in behind.
Around the outside, he did this last lap.
Tanti once again will be told. Mistake from Tanti, but Cloud will not exit in first place this time. Gibbsy just steps out sideways, and he is determined to hold on to that lead.
Ward is in a better position this time as well.
And Melross in a much better position. I can't see, or there we see, okay, just popped in around 8th place is Duffy. So that
needs to work on them starts.
The weight of that red plate is heavy. Needs to be a little bit smarter this time trying to come through the pack. But I'm liking that number 1 plate being up a little bit closer towards the head of the pack.
How's that shot right there? You can see how much that, Purvis getting very close to Waters. I was going to say that shot really showed how hard it is to see in the light and the shadows. That's exactly what the riders are trying to deal with as they go from one to the other, put in some dust, and then the dirt throwing everywhere, and it's really, really difficult to see. Let's head down to Rihanna.
Yeah, it's a little bit chaotic down here at the start line. We saw Matt Moss have an issue with his bike. He came off behind the start gates. He tried to get on a spare bike, but they've actually refused him starting this race. So he's just come back behind the starting gates now. His original bike had a buckled with back wheel.
Okay, so that explains the issue with not being able to start, and I dare say the people who make the decision would know what's going on, but Matt Moss will be absolutely devastated, especially in these short, sharp races where we want to see him up there at the head of the pack. So unfortunately for Moss, he'll have to rebound, try to remount another challenge come the next round of the championship. And on screen at the moment, Todd Waters on that factory Husqvarna machine. He's got pressure from Maximus Purvis. It's all over the back of him, who's under pressure from Hayden Melross on the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha. But Tanti is once again proving the real deal. He is right up there and doing sensational today.
Great ride again by Gibbs in this one. Still holds down the lead, 1.3 seconds over Cloud. This is really, really good to see with Gibbs. Surely this is going to boost that confidence up, and we'll get to see much more fantastic rides out of him as we go further through this championship. But really impressed with Maximus Purvis. He is having a really good day today.
And Hammy, if we remind our memories back to Canberra, the only person to really throw any challenge, shall we say, to Luke Cloud in the races. Now, I don't mean overall. Obviously, Regan Duffy was sensational at round 1, and he's got the red plate. But I'm talking anyone in a race situation with Luke Cloud is Kurt Gibbs, giving him a little bit of that red Honda plastic rubbed up against the blue Yamaha and sending him off the side of the track. So, on a day that Luke Cloud's having at the moment, which is almost unstoppable, is that going to play in his mind if he does get the opportunity to try to make a pass on Gibbsy? You have to, don't just do it anywhere. You need to make the pass at the right time.
Well, if I remember correctly, that particular move came after Luke Cloud made the pass on him into the lead. Gibbs didn't want to give it up. That could happen again here, right now, if he goes for that pass. He doesn't need to do the pass to make the overall for the day.
Yeah, but when you're on a day like this, Cloud is not going to want to hand out
Cloudy's pride. He's not going to let that happen.
No, and he's going to want to have the undefeated day today, and I think we've got 9 minutes 25 on the clock, and as you can see now, he's all over him. And I think he's going to be smart. In the mindset that Cloud's in at the moment, he's going to pick his time to do it, and when he does do it, this time I think he may protect himself a little bit better than last time.
After the protection, it's going to be sprint away.
Yes, sprint for a little bit, minimise the mistakes, and then just control the race. He's in a good headspace at the moment, but wow, it's so good to see this kind of form and speed from Kurt Gibbs on the Honda machine. He's really found his form this year.
Cloudy around the outside, a great line. Yeah, great line on the lights, but because these 450s have so much power, that inside, being able to punch out of that turn, that advantage from the outside is taken away. So it's a weird thing for anyone that isn't in motocross to be able to realise that there's a big bike line and a small bike line. It all depends on the amount of power you have. Oh, just like that. Tapped the back wheel. Both of them guys came into that corner very hot indeed.
And that reminded me right there of a crash that Cooper had in AMA Supercross. Ran into the back of, I believe it was Tomac.
Yes.
Crashed and ruined his overall. So that's how easily it can happen. However, Luke Clout managed to not stall the machine or crash. So crisis evaded for him.
Does that change his mindset now?
We'll have to wait and see how it plays out over the next lap or two, because...
Quick look over the shoulder to see who's behind him. Maybe he might be thinking about it just a little bit. I'll tell you what, I think he's going to be thinking about it. Maybe he might step off the gas just a little bit, especially after making that mistake. He may settle down just a little bit and say, okay, second's okay. However, if while he's cruising, he still catches Gibbs, it's game on again.
It's game on again. Yeah, you just need to see how it works. And something that I noticed when they were battling before, and this happens on a lot of tracks, is quite often two riders that are battling have got their strong parts of the track, where one rider will pull away a little bit and the other rider will be right back on him on that part of the track. They'll get to the other part of the track, stretch back out again. And that's what we're seeing with Gibbsy and Clout on this particular track. They've both got their strong points. So let's watch closely, because no doubt Luke Clout does not want to afford to throw it down. However, he needs to try to reel in Regan Duffy. Regan's back in 8th place at the moment.
And he's not really moving forward that much, is he? Yeah, well, it's not the best start to this one for Duffy. He does need to move forward a lot. Purvis is having a brilliant ride right now. Still back there in 5th place behind Waters. And I saw Hayden Milross also is not far behind as well. He's in there with a chance to challenge for a position. And realistically, over this little bunch of riders, any of these guys could potentially get third in this one, second or third. If they're all close enough, a mistake, like we saw out of Clout just then, has also allowed Tanti to move right onto the back wheel. So, minimise the mistakes, get through the end of this race.
And these shorter races builds up the intensity from these riders, because they can ride at 100% instead of 98 perhaps. And it brings that pack so much closer together, and it eliminates, once again, Clout just time and time again, even when he's got a big lead, he has a look over his shoulder and another one right here. So he's just keeping tabs on...
I think he's monitoring, yep, for sure. As I just quickly look at the Thor leaderboard for the MX1 class Moto 2, you can see that there's a 1st, 2nd, 5th and a 4th, 5th. So put that aside, it is 3rd place for Tanti. That's definitely not in 5th there. And he's riding very well, still with plenty of pressure, but not as much pressure as Purvis is putting on the back of Todd Waters at the moment. Waters is one of those riders that really strives towards the end of a long moto. He likes to get into the groove and then really put down some fast laps. As we also take a look at our lap times, and Gibbs that last lap around 0.2 faster than
stabilised.
Clout. Yeah, so he is putting in at the moment. He really wants to get this win.
Everything's looking good at the head of the pack here, and it's just a couple of little mistakes from Clout that he just needed to settle down, because when everyone's this close and you've got someone the likes of Tanti who's got the fitness, he's got the speed, he's young and he's hungry, you can't afford to let it snowball into a few mistakes, otherwise you can start to get shuffled backwards very quickly. However, you and I both know Clout exceptionally well. He's so proud. He's going to want to turn this into a win somehow. We've still got 4 minutes 50, basically 5 minutes plus a lap to go. It's still an eternity when you look at the duration of these short sprint laps overall. And just as we look right now, it looks to me as if Clout just starting to ease back a little bit closer onto the back of Gibbsy. Gibbsy has won a moto, so it's not like he hasn't won for a very long time. However, the pressure of Clout when he's in this kind of form is undeniable.
Great view there of just how deep these ruts have gotten over the course of the day into this sand section. Now, it's not a deep sand, is it, Lee? But there is definitely some whoops, some bumps going through there that are kicking the back end out as we go through Max's turn here, and another small
Todd
mistake.
Waters has got a really good line here. Watch, he cut. Oh no, he didn't do it that time, and then it makes a big mistake.
Purvis has got him just
I was just about to give him a pat on the back, because the lap before he found a line that cut down under that hook at the start, and it was beautiful. Why did he go into that hook? I can't explain that one. Apologies.
Wow. Well, taking advantage of it when he was not ready. That was a brilliant move by Melross, the 45 machine. He saw the opportunity and absolutely grabbed it with both hands, diving up the inside there while Waters was not expecting it. I think Waters was just trying to regroup out of that turn that you were speaking of. Have a look at this. Look at the dive up the inside. Back wheel locked up. It was going in hot. If Waters turned in, Waters was going down, no doubt.
And if you watched closely with Todd Waters, you would have seen him looking down a little bit with his helmet. And what you could notice was it's that time of the day, and particularly in a track like this with all the trees, a beautiful sunny day. The sun's coming down. It's the one of the last races of the day when the sun's in that precarious part of the sky, and it really becomes a drama when you've got tear-offs on and your vision's not too good, you've got to duck that head down a little bit and use your peak to try to block out that sun so you can see where you're going. It was really clear to see that with Todd Waters.
Through centre part of the track, there's only 2 minutes 40 left to go on the clock on this one, so about 3 laps to go.
And 1.7, it just dropped from 2 seconds down to 1.7, the gap between Gibbs and Clout. So it is getting closer, and that could be the sniff that Clout needed.
Do you think that he'll push it? I mean, he is comfortable at the moment. He doesn't need it. A smart rider who's certainly thinking completely about the championship would be happy to ride in that place. And I'm not saying that he's not a smart rider, but...
well, let me answer that in another lap and a half, because I dare say we've got 3 laps to go, and I think it's going to depend. He doesn't need to do it, but he'd love to do it. You know, especially...
Sorry, mate.
That's in that same corner.
Same corner, yeah, mistake. And that was a weird one. It was almost like the back end was stepping out on him, and he's dropping back rather quick. Does he have an issue, maybe? No, that back wheel's still fine, looking at it.
Fine, yeah. Yep. Just had a little bit of a brain fade, perhaps. I think he needs to just get his memory to focus back on 3 laps ago in that corner where he found the best line. I haven't seen anyone else take that line. He just purposely turned down under the hook, and it placed him into the nice part of the exit of the rut, and then chose to completely take an opposite line in the next 2 laps. So I just think he lost his rhythm just a little bit, and he's dropped off the back of his competitors, and that's obviously got to be a little bit frustrating. Now, I want to see here the gap back. It's close.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
We do have
it's under 1.7.
Yeah, we have a loop here somewhere that will show us the split halfway around this track. So I'd say we'll be seeing that time change as we go across over it.
1 on the dot, I'm going to say. He's taken another 0.7 out, and I think it's still on. He hasn't given up yet.
Yeah, he hasn't given up. He knows it's only 2 laps to go in this one. Actually, it may be 3. 51 seconds to go. That's they're going to come across that line with very few seconds. If it doesn't run out, there's not going to be much left on that clock. He may have an extra lap to try and make this work. Let's go through the autolight area there, through those rollers. Can't speak highly enough of this guy, Arantanti, really putting in a solid performance today, and the confidence that he's going to take out of this race is only going to grow so much going into the next few rounds.
Yeah, Hammy, interesting to note, coming into that Pirelli corner back there where you were talking about, the braking bumps coming in, they must almost be like vertical. I can't remember seeing bikes react quite that way to braking bumps. It'd be nasty. I'm so glad that you and I aren't out there riding.
8 seconds it was over the finish line until the clock ran out. So these boys have another 2 laps to go. Gibbs would have loved to have seen that last lap board that last time around, but he has to weather the storm for another lap, and it is close.
It is on.
1.5 doesn't look right.
It's not correct.
No.
It's under 1 second. You have a look.
Yeah, that is really close. A slight mistake by Gibbs, and Clout will take a chance at this, a lunge at this pass.
Yeah,
whether he can make it stick is another thing, because Gibbs really is on his game at the moment.
Yeah, and realistically, Clout just needs to put himself in position. He's right there. He doesn't need to force the issue. Get right there and see if an opportunity presents itself.
Through the centre part of the track.
We're talking 0.2.
There is nothing in it, nothing at all. Past the mountain shade. Sail sign.
Got to be careful there, because that's where he snagged the back wheel not that long ago. So
into bell turn.
Have a look at the different lights. The
light. I was about to say that you can see their eyes going through that corner. It just shows how bright it is on them. And there is nothing in this. 1 lap to go at the completion of this race. The dust is flying.
A little bit of dust with that sun in that part of the sky, and then we've got so many different textures of dirt. We've got hard pack, we've got ruts, we've got a bit of soft stuff. Still got a bit of mud there out on the track. You literally couldn't really throw many more curveballs at these riders into that sand section, and polar opposite lines between these 2 riders. It looked like the gap stretched out a bit there, but I dare say there, we couldn't quite see it properly because of the leaderboard and the times, but Luke Clout found that line that I was talking about with Todd Waters before through that rut with the hook in it.
1 lap to go for these boys.
Stabilised.
Who's going to throw down the gauntlet here? Will the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha rider be able to make the pass on the factory Honda? It is going to be a big effort, I think, to try and do it to try and get past. Yeah,
he knows he's sitting there. I think the only thing he's going to do is to wait perhaps for a mistake.
Yep, a mistake.
He's not going to force the issue. Doesn't need to, and that is smart riding. I like what I'm seeing from Luke Clout, and you can't help but like what you're seeing from Kurt Gibbs. This is a resurgence in form from Gibbsy, a past national champion who knows how to win.
Sorry, have a look when we get a long shot. Have a look behind these two.
Tanti is right there.
He's got Purvis on him and Melross as well as they come into here. Top of shot. There it is. 3 riders. Great shot right there. And
What
it
a
is
race.
very close between these 3.
Purvis nearly turned that into a triple. He landed on the face.
They're catching up to our leaders as well. So the pace is on. Melross desperate at the moment to try and make this final lunge and make these passes stick as we see first and second. There is Tanti as well. Lead 2 riders can't slack it off right now because the next 3 are right on their back wheel.
Any mistake will be punished here, and that's one of the exciting things about these shorter duration races. With Gibbs has just managed to edge out just a little bit over Clout, who really is trying to control this here. Everyone else is trying to just get their time to shine, their little bit of TV time, and what a fantastic job from Maximus Purvis. And here we see Gibbsy comes in, tips it nicely into that corner. Clout's dropped back even further, so I'd love to see just how close he is to Tanti getting onto the back of him. We're only just meters away here, up and over in the finish, and the checkered flag comes out. Have a look at the freight train as they come through. It's Gibbs from Clout, from Tanti Purvis, Melross. What an amazing ride there. A very smart and calculated second place from Clout, and an impressive win from Kurt Gibbs on that factory Honda machine.
It's going to be tough to beat this guy. If he is confident on the day of the track that they attend, it is going to be very, very hard to beat him. But Gibbs just done that. He has shown that it is possible to get out there and run it against him, even when he is in that true form. So Gibbs, once again, steals the final moto of the round. And hopefully that's going to build up even more confidence for Gibbs going into these next races.
Yeah, terrific job there as we have a look down. You can see on the start line in the background there, the old school bikes. Very excited to see them back out again. But here he is, the man of the moment. And the momentum has well and truly swung his direction. Luke Clout, the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha rider, his girlfriend in there giving him a big hug. Good to see Brad McAlpine there, everyone wearing their face masks and doing the right thing. Kurt Gibbs comes through there, the podium. Such a fantastic atmosphere to be down there. A bit of champagne getting sprayed around. It's a good time.
Results of MX1, thanks to Thor. It is Kurt Gibbs in that race. Luke Clout, Aaron Tanti, Maximus Purvis was another really, really good ride. Hayden Melross, Todd Waters, Regan Duffy only through to 7th place that time. Brett Metcalf, Lockie Latmouth, and also Connor Tierney on this lone Suzuki out there. So some really good results out there. A couple of standouts too for these no Tanti, Purvis, Melross really shining today.
Great job from Lockie Latimer there in the top 9 to be getting a great job for the privateer, as I said. All right, guys, time for a break here. What a fantastic win from Luke Clout. We'll be back any moment. Welcome back to Maitland for the Penrite Oils ProMX Motocross Championships, brought to you by AMX Superstores. We're about to go down to Rihanna now on the podium.
What a way to wrap up our day here at Maitland, taking out the Thor MX1 Moto 2 combined results on the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha. Congratulations, Luke Clout. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought battle in that last one. I kind of knew I had the overall, but the boys behind us were keeping us on our toes, so I couldn't really drop back, and you know, I knew Gibbsy would have got the overall if that was the case. So I was hoping that we were pulling away, and I thought we were, but the boys were still hanging in there. So the track was pretty brutal then, and like I said, a Dakar in between the first run. I was like, that was a long 9 laps. I didn't know how long it was, but yeah, stoked to come over with the win.
I know you said at the start of this weekend you wanted to leave here with the red plate. I think you've got it by 3 points.
Yeah, look, Dakar just told me that as well. So, you know, we got it a lot sooner than I thought. Obviously, we had that DNF at round 1, and, you know, the goal was to obviously get that red plate back, but I didn't think it would take 2 rounds to do it. So, you know, keep doing what I'm doing. It's obviously working, so I'm just going to keep chipping away and hopefully make this points lead grow and see where we end up.
Congratulations, Luke Clout, but making him work for it, taking the second place on the podium on the Honda Racing team. Kurt Gibbs, I know you're a little bit disappointed. You want to get that win?
Yeah, exactly. First 2 rounds weren't ideal. I've been off a little bit, and like I said, we're just chipping away with this bike. It's new for me. It's a big change, and yeah, I just, you know, I feel like I'm starting to gel. A few little 1%ers at home as well, and you know, want to say a massive shout out to my wife who's at home. We got married last week, so I'm really stoked with that, and it was an awesome day. But you know, huge hats off to the guys, Darren at Terra Firma, for you know, everything he's done for us, and the factory Honda team. You know, they're putting in huge effort. You know, Fly and Garnet and FMF and Dan from MXRP is you know, busting his butt behind the scene as well, and just everyone, Sarah, the whole team's a massive effort, and I think I'm going to start getting the ball rolling from here.
I'm sure she'll forgive you for being away a week after the wedding when you come home with a trophy. And taking off the 3rd place on the podium, Aaron Tanti bouncing back from injury. What a way to do it.
Yeah, that was awesome. You know, I rode them 2 back-to-backs with both top 3 results. The first moto wasn't where I wanted to be, which probably, you know, put me off the podium overall. But, you know, it's a strong way to finish before going into the next round. I'm getting stronger each week as I'm coming back from injury, and, you know, I'm excited to bring it the next round.
Congratulations to our 3 podium place getters, Luke Clout, Kurt Gibbs and Aaron Tanti.
Well, such a fantastic job from our podium place getters there. And of course, Kurt Gibbs getting another win on the Honda machine, but it was all about Luke Clout overall today. Let's take a look at the Thor Championship points in the MX1 after round 4. Luke Clout with 122 has taken that red plate off Regan Duffy with 119. It's still super close there, rounding out the top 3. Todd Waters with 116 points. Back to Gibbsy in 4th. Kurt Gibbs, Hayden Melross, Brett Metcalf, Max Purvis, Aaron Tanti, Jai Walker and Joel Whiteman rounding out the top 10. Joel Whiteman there on 54 points. So incredible day here, and what an amazing setting. Let's take a look here on screen. Round 5, Diamond Creek Motocross Track. That's at Wodonga. That's our next round of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championships, and that is on July the 25th. Another hard-packed track like we're seeing here. And we take a look on screen, the Australian Superbike Championship, round 5, Morgan Park at Queensland. That's August the 20th to the 22nd. Wayne Maxwell has been on fire. Of course, Ollie Bayliss up there on the podium at the last round. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And of course, finally, the AORC. On the 17th and 18th of July, we had Kyogle in New South Wales, and that's for round 3 and 4. Milner's been on fire. Can he keep the ball rolling? So amazing job there from those guys. Keep your eyes peeled. Let's go back down to Rihanna.
Well, Danny Ham, we had to wait 8 weeks for this round in Maitland, but it sure threw up all sorts of spanners in the works. Kyle Webster has been defeated, finally, and the red plate has been taken from Regan Duffy.
Yeah, wow, what a meeting this has been. Really showed some new faces, didn't it? Especially in the MX1 class. We saw TNT going up there. The strength of Luke Clout. You know, he's going to be someone that is really strong going forward in this championship. Can Duffy bounce back? It's going to be hard to say, but I know the strength of him as well. It's going to be interesting over these next couple of rounds.
Our next round, we head to Wodonga. Quick thoughts on that one?
very similar to here. It's going to be another race that's going to have a lot of ruts and stuff, so I think this is a bit of a prerequisite of what we're going to see down there.
Okay, well, very much looking forward to that. The next round of the Penrite ProMX Championship, presented by AMX Superstores, will be brought to you from Wodonga in a month's time, July 25. We look forward to bringing you all the action. In the meantime, keep up to date on the website ProMX and, of course, the Instagram. Danny, we're going to get covered in champagne. Thanks for joining us here this weekend in Maitland. Bye for now.
As we get towards the final race of the day for us, the Evo class, we've seen some fantastic riding out of this class today between Craig Anderson. Danny Anderson's also been up there on bikes they're not quite used to racing. They're going to have to deal with the sun. You can see it right there, how low it is in the face of all of these riders. It's going to be very difficult for all of these bikes getting around there, if it's not difficult enough just on them bikes alone. You see our riders going out for their side lap. Now, they started the day, not the first out on track. They were the first race. They did a second moto halfway through, and then this one at the end of the day. Now, I don't feel that the conditions, the track at the moment is ideal for these kind of bikes, but they're going to go out there and have a blast doing it. I did get to speak to a couple of the riders from this class during our lunch break today, and they just were stoked and happy to be out there having a ride. Yes, it is pretty tough for them, and they acknowledge that, as we see a few of the riders just trying their best to avoid some of these really, really deep ruts, but they're loving it, having a really good time.
Well, Hammy, must say, from earlier on in the day, we've seen some of the best battles in this class that we've seen. And I can look back and remember from Liam Beverley, Craig Anderson and Danny Anderson, 3 abreast through a complete lap at one stage. You didn't even know who had the lead. It was that close. However, coming into this final moto of the day, it's Liam Beverley who holds himself down a nice handy little points lead. It's going to be quite difficult for Craig Anderson, your nemesis and, let's say, sparring partner from the 90s indoor supercross, to get up and get the overall victory due to a little bit of a crash mishap in moto number 2 and subsequent trouble starting his bike up, shall we say. So anyway, Danny Anderson's still in there in the mix as well, but Liam Beverley really just needs to have some kind of a consistent race here to wrap up the overall. I'm just hoping for more battles like we've seen.
Yeah, if we can get another one of them, finish out, close out this day, I'd be very, very happy. I did see Danny Anderson out there as well during the lunch break, and the smiles, you know, he's just having an absolute ball. So if we can get 3 of them up the front again, we should be in for another entertaining race as these riders just make their way around and learn this track all over again. They've been sitting around for, 3 hours maybe. It's been quite a long time. Yeah,
the track doesn't even resemble what it looked like before. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of riders here, perhaps prepared to go an extra kilometre to miss some of these ruts. All right, well, let's go down to Rihanna, who's trackside.
Yeah, this classic MX Evolution Cup has been a lot of fun today. Peter Martin, I'm interrupting you. You're still sitting here behind the gates. You don't want to take part in this sighting lap?
Oh, absolutely I want to take part, but my body doesn't. my mind is willing, but I'm just listening to my body at this present point.
I feel that's a really smart call. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I've loved it. It's been a great thing. It's a great event for MA to get behind, and really keep it going, guys.
We wish you all the best for this one. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, that was fantastic, Rihanna. I'd love to get another close-up look at that bike if we can. We can see, look at the red engine. Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, there's some experts out there. That's the Red Devil Honda that we were talking about, and it's got the old school DG exhaust system on there. That is absolutely awesome. But look at the little muffler there. The right side chain going on. It was complete opposite. Am I correct in thinking the kickstar's on the left-hand side as well?
I did just see him kick down on the other side.
Yes,
so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's...
Wow, what a work of art and pristine condition right there. I'm sure there'll be some people at home in their lounge rooms that a lot of people may not perhaps be able to appreciate that. And look at that gear lever. That looks like a factory Honda HRC gear lever that has the rubber mount on the end, just like you'd see on a Roxon bike. That's incredible.
The only modern part to that bike just then was the handlebars. Yeah. Everything else was very well dated and looked after. If we look at this lineup for Penrite, Classic MX, Moto number 3, Liam Beverley on the 133, Danny Anderson 199, Brett Riley 54, Craig Anderson on the 100 machine, David Middleton, Trent Allison, Brian Little, Gary Brown, and the rest of the guys all lining up as well to get this one underway. What a mix of different bikes as well, different brands, different sizes. It's a real good initiative to have this out there today, having a blast around with the rest of the pro riders. And I know that this was something that they talk about for a long time. I know one of the guys on the start line there is just overseeing everything, making sure everyone's right.
Yeah, I'm still a bit unsure of the 1988 Model YZ that's on there, but
somehow
hey, I can still appreciate it. I can still appreciate it, but nonetheless, look at these beauties here. Look at the smoke coming out the back.
And everything dripping out of the bottom. There's a bit of fuel there. Looks like the seat.
The overflow just needs a tap of the T-bar on the bottom of the carby just to
Middleton.
To make sure she's clean.
Middleton with a great launch out off the start, but it's going to be Craig Anderson, Danny Anderson on 199. Our top 3 once again.
Show your breast.
All right, boys, let's do this. Let's close out the day with a brilliant race. Danny Anderson on the 199.
I don't know how Danny can focus on anything on the track other than that flapping front fender, because for me, I'd be twitching out. It would be doing my head in.
Oh, he's bouncing all over the place.
Oh.
Well, the riders fighting through the very deep ruts. Craig Anderson, this is unsportsmanlike. You're meant to be having a good battle here, Craig. I think he just wants to get out and run away with this one after the last race where he had that little tip over.
Yeah, I think, but Liam Beverley here doesn't need to win this race to win overall. However, I don't think he's going to want to let Ando just check out. I think we haven't seen the last of Liam Beverley here, and I think he's going to want to go 2-1-1 for the overall. Ando's going to try to have something to say about that, but am I right in thinking that if there's anyone out on the track at the moment that's going to feel comfortable, I don't think any of the bikes are going to be comfortable in these ruddy conditions, but rider comfort, I think Ando is pretty much the only ones. We have a look at the Penrite ProMX whole shot going to Craig Anderson here, and that was a nice easy one, that one.
Craig Anderson, very well known for his starting abilities throughout his whole career, and even out on these bikes that he hasn't done much riding on, he still managed to get himself that whole shot in this one. There is Beverley on the 133. This bike has done a lot of laps. I've seen this at many, many races, and they still look this good. They really look after the bikes. I'm glad it isn't a mud race, because if it was my bike out there and it was a mud race, I would have packed up and gone home. There's no way I just want to destroy it, but the conditions have turned out really good. Have a listen to those two-stroke engines just churning through that mud or dirt through those corners.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic, that's for sure. Okay, what have you got for us, Ree?
Well, I just want to say a quick shout out to Stephen Sweeney. He's on bike 684. He turns 61 today. So what a way to celebrate his 61st birthday then by riding around here at Maitland.
Yes, a big happy birthday there for sure, as we see Liam Beverley start to edge up just that ever so closer now to Craig Anderson. And one thing I was going to mention, Hammy, was you mentioned the starting talents of Craig Anderson. Another one that I would say is his line selection, and that's something that enabled him right from the get-go to pick some great lines right off the bat. Now, Liam Beverley, perhaps not quite the case. He didn't have the best lines in the first lap, but it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out, you got Ando in front of you, let's try to pick up on some of these lines. And that's what he's done. That's what's allowed him to hop back onto the rear end of Craig Anderson. Ando managed to find a lot of the smooth lines out there. Let's see how this plays out, because that last one didn't work too good for him. He should have just hopped in behind Ando, I think.
I was about to say that outside line was a much better option.
And much smoother,
Yeah,
saving a bit of energy.
Why beat yourself up if you don't need to? As they work towards these rollers, and it's unavoidable beating up through here with these bikes. That suspension running all the way through. Isn't there valving in this thing? I don't know.
It's just, they drill out a couple of 5-cent coins and throw them into
different size drill bits. That's the progression that goes through.
You know, I must say, and it's kind of hard unless you look closely, but the bike that Liam Beverley's riding seems to be much more balanced. I know we touched on it earlier in the show, but the balance of Liam's bike seems a lot more nicer setup. The rear end of Ando is a lot softer, the forks end a little bit higher. Now, that coming into corners, you need to have an Ando body position or style where you carry so much weight over the front. The average punter trying to ride that bike, if you carry a little bit too much weight on the back of the bike, you're going to be pushing the front end everywhere and possibly have a little bit of a washout here. Even Ando looks like he's struggling with that front end just a tad.
Back of that thing looks a bit like a wake boat at the moment.
It does.
Maybe someone should throw a line and get the wakeboard out. As they go over this tabletop and down through a very tricky part of the track through there. You could see that they're out to that outside line. This is probably a stronger part of the track for Beverley. He was really good through here last time. Probably now that I said that, not so much that time. Danny Anderson maybe finding his feet a little bit with some lines. They drop down and up over this tabletop. Look at these outside lines. Let's see if Liam runs that outside line in this next turn. Really trying hard, isn't he, to close that distance down to Craig Anderson.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit from here on in, but you've got to remember we've still got 5 minutes plus a lap to go. He elects to go his inside line. Yep. It's just that motocross rider instinct where you look and you just naturally want to go the shortest distance. You know, it's the opposite to the road races that tend to think ahead and they start off wide and cut back. It's our natural instinct to just look and go, I know I should just be patient, wait a little bit longer, and then boom, all of a sudden they're on the inside, going through the bumps, taking the wrong line, and it's something we have to deal with as motocross riders. It's very hard to break that habit.
I think Danny Anderson may have closed in just a little bit. There he is on screen. 199s.
Well, yeah, the gap between Beverley and Anderson is closer, should I say, Biggsy, than what it is from Craig Anderson at the head of the pack to Liam Beverley now. So, yeah, edging ever so closely. And I wonder how that will play out if Danny Anderson does make the pass. So we'll have to watch this space with these points.
As our riders still making their way around, there is Craig Anderson, our leader, up and over the finish line.
Yeah, he's in his zone
very comfortable.
now.
Yeah, he's comfortable now. I don't see them catching back up to him. But in the background there, you definitely saw Danny Anderson is right on the back wheel of Beverley as they go through here. Hopefully we get to see a little bit of elbow rubbing.
Yeah, it'd be great to get a little vision of this action here, as we've got one of our riders making our way through, trying to pick up race numbers here.
We'll get them for you in just a second.
Just a sec.
You see everyone's out there.
It's a great one. Look to be, is that number 188, I believe? Gregory McKee, is it? Sneaking around. Oh, well, that's what the number on the front, but number 13 on the side. So different numbers.
Still trying to find the number plate parts.
There we go, back to our race leader once again. Craig Anderson's got that traditional pointer finger out there on the clutch, even though you probably need 4 fingers to pull that clutch in.
And
he's still resting that pointer finger on there in true Ando style, as he's managed to stretch out a nice little gap now over Liam Beverley back there in second place. Getting a bit creative with the lines and getting a little bit cross-rutted there. He just, I don't know, you look at the Yamahas, they look a little bit more modern. You look at that old Suzuki, it just looks like a boat anchor. And I don't mean any disrespect by that.
Not at all.
It just looks like it's not going to be fun to ride, doesn't it?
It looks very hard to ride.
Hats off to you, Danny Anderson. Great job. Gold rims look great. Go well with the yellow plastics, but yeah, just both legs off. Both legs off the side of the bike there for Danny.
First time that's happened either in this race for Danny Anderson. I don't know, as I said, the last race of the day for these bikes, got to be hard. I hate being the last race of the day on a 450 and modern bike.
Yeah, I always, you know, looking back over history, I remember back in juniors and when we used to be in a class called RLH, restricted license holders, we used to get to race events like Mr. Motocross, but we'd be 14, 15 years old on 125s, and they would always put us out in the first race after lunch when the track was underwater. We'd always be, why us? You know, why do we have to go? Everyone's covered in mud or lying on the ground in the first corner. But hey, there's certain times where you get the raw end of the stick, or the short end of the stick, should I say. And at the moment, it's these guys, the poor buggers. They've got no suspension, they've got the roughest part of the day, and the sun in the worst part of the sky.
It's good to see that the muffler still sticking to the bike on Danny Anderson. It's got some movement, but I think it's still part of the expansion chamber at this present point in time.
Holding on a lot better. I think it's got another half a roll of wire on there and a quarter of a roll of duct tape on there just to keep it on there, because in that last race it was rotating backwards and forwards, and clearly the front of it was not attached to the exhaust. So the battle continues here between Liam Beverley and Danny Anderson. We want to see a little bit more elbow rubbing like we did in previous races, that's for sure. But Craig Anderson has all but checked out.
Might have it here.
He's got a 7.7 second gap. And a little bit ambitious up the inside there for Danny Anderson. He's popping that Suzuki. Oh, he just completely crosses that. That's a very, very innovative liner, shall we say.
Not sure why we didn't see any before 52 doing that one. Maybe they don't have the fear that Danny Anderson has at the moment being on that bike.
And the lack of vision when you've got something slapping around that's taking your attention away from the track, and you're wondering when that front fender's just going to snap off and go hurtling in front of your goggles. See, without a doubt, if Liam Beverley manages to hold on to this second place right here, he's going to get the overall in the day. It's only if Danny Anderson manages to, and he's setting up the slingshot here. We just had a few kicks of the behind there.
Yep.
Yes, here we go. And that's all she wrote as far as a pass from Danny Anderson.
That outside line for these bikes, where you can keep the momentum going, a much better option. So much smoother. The inside's not always the best.
This is going to be close with points. I tell you, we're coming down to the wire here.
Last lap board is out now. Craig Anderson is 9 seconds in front of his brother. Then back to Beverley Riley Middleton on the 4-stroke. He sits back there in 5th place. Oh, here we go. It's not over yet. Beverley making the pass back on Danny Anderson.
Oh, he's just got the bit between his teeth today, doesn't he?
But that's why the inside sometimes work.
So, yep.
That's it. Danny Anderson loves the outsides at the moment. Beverley, he has a couple of insides that do work.
Yep.
He can't play that into the last corner, though.
You can just see them as they're almost clenching their teeth going through the braking bump so they don't, you know, possibly knock a tooth out from the handlebars hitting your jaw. So what an absolute credit for these guys to get out and ride such a crazy track for these type of bikes.
Only half a lap to go as they run through this part. Mountain shade straight down into this corner. Danny Anderson opts for the much better line around the outside. The bike's still stepping out all over the place.
Just less than half a lap to go, and we've just had confirmation on the comms, Danny Ham, that if positions stay how they are, it will be Liam Beverley, number 133, that will take the overall. The only thing that could potentially change that would be a pass. So I think Craig Anderson needs to have some intercoms going on with his brother going, bro, you need to make the pass for me. I need this overall. But It's not looking like being the case at this stage as they exit this sandy section, the AMX Superstores sand section. Around the Max's turn, is just one corner to go before Craig Anderson will take victory here in the final race of the day, and will give himself 2 wins, but not 3. It's not going to be enough, unfortunately. That crash in Moto 2 is going to be costly for him as he comes up and over, takes the checkered flag. Great job from Craig Anderson, multi-time outdoor motocross and supercross champion. And Liam Beverley comes through in 2nd place to earn himself not only 2nd place in that race, in that event, but overall to take the win. Danny Anderson
Can't even reach the ground.
A great job in 3rd place, and I believe he'll get himself 3rd place overall, or will he be 2nd? Let's just keep our eyes peeled on these points. What sort of weight are we looking at here? How he's about to loft.
That's not very nice, asking what weight Craig Anderson is.
I was asking about the bike.
Sorry, my apologies.
The bike.
My apologies, the bike. God, I don't know, 110?
You think? Surely
there's not much of it, though.
Yeah, okay. Half of them are steel or very heavy plastic. Let's have a look at the Penrite Oils ProMX results of the Classic MX Moto 3. Craig Anderson with the win on the YZ250. Liam Beverley in 2nd place. We'll get the overall. Danny Anderson in 3rd. Brett Riley, David Middleton, Trent Allison, Gary Brown. We've got Brian Little, Stephen Sweeney, and Christian Giedis is back there in 10th place. And that's been quite a few times he's been in 10th and throwing me a curveball with that surname. I remember that every time. Fantastic job to those guys. Let's head down trackside to Rihanna.
What a way to finish the day here in Maitland. Congratulations, Craig Anderson, getting the 3rd moto done. Are you buggered? You've had enough?
You know, the funny thing is, I actually feel better in that one than I did in the first 2. I had a really good think between motos where I was not doing so well. On the sight lap, I really had a close look at the bits where I was struggling, and I really found some good lines, made it so much easier to ride. I wasn't all over the place. But what made it so much better was I got a good start, and I actually held the inside. Liam was right on the outside, and I was going for it, and it just put me into the first straightaway out of the big ruts, and he was in them. So, and then I just put my head down and just went for it. So it was great.
You boys told me you're not taking this seriously. You're absolutely taking this seriously. 2nd on the podium, Liam Beverley. Congratulations, Liam. Awesome job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that one was a lot harder than the 2nd one, that's for sure. Yeah, he's still good. He's still got it, that's for sure. He's not a 13-time champ for no reason. So, no, it was good fun. Had a good day. Everyone put on a good show today. Everything was on time. Track was amazing. So, I'm happy.
Congratulations, and quickly head over to Danny. Quick word from you, Danny. You've entertained us all day, all this afternoon. Well done.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to thank MA for having this category. Borrowed bike of a good friend of mine, Al, so thanks for letting me borrow your bike. You know, what can I say? I mean, it was pretty tough on these old girls, you know, with just the depth of the ruts and a bit skatey out there, but it was good fun.
Fantastic to see all 3 of you guys on the podium for the Classic MX Evolution Cup. That wraps up our show from Maitland, round 4 of the Penrite ProMX. Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. What a fantastic day we have had of racing. Our next round, we will be bringing you live from Wodonga. That's in a month's time, July 25. Thanks very much to Danny and Lee for all of their hard work. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to bringing you all the action from Wodonga in a month's time. Bye for now.